All right, here we are. Welcome everyone to session 1 of our new channel, Dice Illusions. We are going to be playing Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 2nd Edition, and this campaign is just beginning, so I'm really excited to be hosting the game for us. And just a couple things. I'm Jamie, and I'll be the Dungeon Master. We're going to be in the Forgotten Realms setting, and tonight I am joined by 7 really enthusiastic players. We'll do some introductions, just something basic for now. So I'm going to have each of you say who you are, where you're from if you'd like, and then lastly, which character are you? And anything you want to say about your character, but we'll get into the deeper description here when we drop into the setting. I've got first Brian.
Oh, yeah, thanks, Jamie. Yes, I'm Brian. I live in Oregon now. I play a character called Bayesian Lee Iowana. She's a human druid. She doesn't really look like that on a daily basis. She has painted her face and like dreadlocks or whatever, maybe some flowers in her hair. That's certainly not what she looks like. And she's little because she doesn't get a whole lot of nutrition because she's a druid. So she like eats a leaf or whatever every day.
Very cool. All right, next up I have is Adam. Hello.
So I'm Adam from Wisconsin in the U.S. here. I'm playing a priest of Lyra, the Lady of the Mists here, Bartholomew. And he is an orphan who's just trying to find his way and gain power and prestige with his Lady of the Mists.
Interesting. Cool. Thank you. All right, next up is Nate. Hey, Nate.
Hey, so I'm Nate. I am currently living in Pennsylvania. I am playing Ervalor Cedarsong. He is a scout, a ex-scout, soldier, spy-ish person for the Elven military. Has a complicated relationship with that, depending on what your character's rumors are. I'm not going to say too much more about it. And yeah, he's a little bit of an information broker, spy, somebody who can find things out.
Thanks. All right, how about
I'm Kevin. I'm currently living in southern Mississippi. I'm playing Kermwin. He's a elf fighter mage. All we currently know right now is that he left blade singing training early. And he does not say why.
Great. All right, awesome. Great, thanks. Good to have you. Next is Rods. How are you?
Hey, thanks. Hi there. My name is Rodolfo. I'm from Brazil. I'm playing the Halfling Thief. He's from Zambia, but now he's traveling north, hoping to see the world.
Very good, thanks. Great to have you. And Chris is next up. Hello, sir.
Hey there. I'm playing Kurza, a elven wizard from a somewhat elite family. His father did a lot of traveling, so he's traveled with his father to all kinds of other parts of the Forgotten Realms. Met many interesting people.
Perfect. Good to have you. Last but not least, lucky number 7, Mike. How are you?
Doing well. I'm Mike. I'm from Ohio. I am playing Hamden Grimmax. I hail from Citadel Felbar. I hate orcs, and if I see them, I will kill them.
Don't we all, though?
Yes, we do.
We all have our triggers. Perfect. Well, that's great. Thanks, guys, for that. We'll go ahead and move into the setting here, and I'll give you a little bit of information about it. You are essentially beings on the planet of Toril right now. We're going to be actually in Faerun, and this is the large map of Faerun. There have been many ages here. We are currently living in Star Day on the 1st of Fireseek in the year of 1350 is when we are going to be inserting our storyline into Faerun. You are all, for one reason or another, converging in the city of Westgate. And at this point, if you look on your character backstories and you go down to where you had given me rumors about your characters, I've replaced those rumors with the things that you know and the things that you've been hearing throughout your days here in Westgate. And take a moment and check those out. I think some of that will help inform you about things that are going on around you and potentially inspire some roleplay with one another. Those are some facts that your character would certainly be aware of and interested in. But essentially what's going on is that each of you are here for a different reason. You're headed west, and you know that Westgate is called the Gate of the West, among other things, and it's a little bit of a scoundrel city. This is Westgate. You have arrived here again separately. At this point, you're not necessarily familiar with one another, but the common thread that you have is that you are all here to board a ship and head west for a different reason. Each of you have headed out. You've left your families, you left your mentors, and you have taken the chance here to go out and explore the world for various reasons. And those are parts of your backgrounds individually. I'll let you decide what you want to share with each other when it comes to that. But you've all been given a token that provides free passage on the Osprey Herald, which is a galleon ship, is ported in Westgate. And the route that the galleon, to your knowledge, is headed in is towards Procampur, which connects you, each of you, to your own different storyline. But this trip, if you will, is paid for. You've got passage. You have to arrive at the dock on the next day. So we are the day before you have to leave right now, and you're each going to have the ability to roam around and explore Westgate for a little bit until the morning, when you'll have to get to the docks and catch your ship. So this is where we'll start. We'll start in Westgate. All right, so you've arrived in Westgate, a port town. It is dominated mostly by humans. You do see all of the other common races here, but they're not very well represented. There is a lot of known gang activity. There is crime here that you're aware of. Scoundrels and buccaneers and that take refuge here. And it's obvious to you as you move around in the city that it's probably corrupt at the government level as well. If there's anything you'd like to do in Westgate prior to us moving ahead to the boarding, which would be tomorrow. So I'm going to say it's mid-afternoon. You guys will be, again, standing in this area. And again, you don't know each other. You don't even know yet that you're going to cross paths when you get to the port. So you're going to be, and you've passed each other many times as you run around the city, and your faces are still strange to each other, but you're not as fearful of each other as you are of the residents. That's where we'll pick it up. And I'm going to start here. And I think this would be a great time for you each to describe your character's appearance a little bit to one another. Again, I know you mentioned their race, but if we could just say, what they look like, maybe how tall they are, if there's anything distinguishing about them that the others would have noticed as you're all standing in this kind of courtyard area, each thinking about where direction you want to go. So we'll just go in the same order. I've got Brian first, if you'd like to just describe what Beijing looks like. Yeah.
I look a tiny young human female. I'm probably about 5 feet tall, maybe 100 pounds, just as skinny as you could possibly be. and I have this huge backpack filled with stuff. I look like I'm ready to go on a long adventure somewhere, or I definitely have been traveling for a while. There's probably some face paint. It looks like a kind of maybe like an M on my face or something, and there's also some stuff going down over my nose, probably red, whatever color she had. I have a shield, a little small shield, and it looks like I've scribbled some sort of great white stallion rearing back and looking towards the sky. I don't have any weapons per se. I wear some mittens, and I think my hair would be up, and maybe there's some flowers in it or something, some type of plants, maybe even growing in it. Who knows? With Druid, crazy nature person.
I would think you'd look a little out of place in the city as well, maybe. Do you feel
I
comfortable in the city?
look absolutely out of place.
Okay.
I'm standing out like a sore thumb.
Okay.
At least there's some other humans around here. Maybe there's some other ones to look at. It's not just me.
Sure. Oh, there's a lot to take in. This is people watching to another level for
I'm asking around. Have you seen the Osprey Herald? Please, will you help me?
And that would be a great way that the others would hear again, and you would know that you're all destined for that same port. That's perfect. How about Bartholomew? What's Bartholomew doing, and what's he look like as he's sitting here and making his next thought?
So he's probably at this point, unless were stables at the entrance of the city or outside, leading his pony, trying to find a stabling for it currently.
Okay.
Which is packed down with his a suit of chainmail and a mace and other supplies. It looks like he may have been traveling for a while. Himself, he's just dressed in robes with a quarterstaff, almost might look like his walking stick. He's also carrying the kind of the incense burner with him, which is his holy symbol. There might be some sputterings of burning incense yet, so the smells from him would waft of incense perfume. There might be some slight mists or smoke rising yet from it. He wears constantly a silvered mask over his face to cover his appearance, and occasionally he might be observed talking over his shoulder to someone that does not appear to be there, seeking approval or perhaps asking a question or two. And he might actually inquire as to over his shoulder to this person that isn't there about the Osprey Herald, and that might actually end up being directed inadvertently towards Egwin, perhaps. Who knows? But
Yeah, I would think you've overheard her now, and that's registered for you, and that's great. How about I think I've got Nate next. What's Urvailer up to?
Okay. If you see me, so I am armed to the teeth. Let's start with my actual physical appearance. Blonde, long hair, elven, very obviously elven, fair skin. I'm quite tall for a elf, and also rather gaunt looking, very skinny. I do look like a soldier. I'm armed to the teeth with weapons, actually. I just have them on my person.
What do you think that
Yeah.
you're looking for to do? Is there a
Yeah.
pressing need or anything like that?
I have one eye over my shoulder. I'm like nervous, right? This is a town mostly of humans and kind of people of ill repute, right? I think that I am itching to get out of here and maybe a little paranoid that I don't know, that I'll be like moving around a lot and kind of just looking over my shoulder, trying very obviously on guard and uncomfortable and not staying in one place.
Makes sense. Yeah, I would think you would feel that way. Kevin, how's Kermwin? What are they doing at this moment?
Kermwin is wearing his riding cloak with hood up. He is wearing a dust mask. You can't tell he's an elf, so at glance, he looks like a young teenage human.
What weapons does he carry?
Yeah, the only noticeable weapon, you can see a decently crafted hilt of a long sword from time to time, poking out from underneath the cloak. He is leading his horse. He's looking for either the boat to go ahead and preload the horse or a stable for overnight.
Ronnie, what are you doing here in the courtyard as you're getting acquainted with Westgate?
Ronnie looks like very at ease in his own element here. He's feeling very good. He's quite a little different for a halfling. He's very observant. He keeps a very sharp eye on everything that happens. Like a good poker player on a poker table on a poker tournament. He looks for every single information, the body language, every tell anyone can give him. But he stays on his own company. It's not very talkative. And I think that in these conditions, he will look to buy some good food for the voyage. He's not equipped to a ship voyage.
Perfect. Yeah, so you are feeling at home here with the shady characters about. It doesn't seem to bother you much. Pretty used to that. Perfect. How about Kurza?
He's got some quality traveling clothes, not ostentatious in any way, but well worn, and a little human hat to keep the water off his and the sun off his head. Brown hair, blue eyes. He tends to look around a lot. Not necessarily nervousness, but just attentiveness. Perhaps to see what's going on, perhaps to be very curious. You're not sure, but he does tend to look around a lot and he doesn't appear afraid or paranoid of the human. He's been in the cities like this before on occasion, and is cautious but not fearful, I guess is the best way to put it. He goes over to Begwin Lay, and you're looking for the Osprey as well? I'll ask, and perhaps we can find a spot where it is and know where we're going in the morning, because I'm going there as well,
And
since he had made a fuss about it.
would Beijing respond to Kurza, do you think, Brian, or?
Why don't we let Mike go, and then we'll just
Sure.
start right over
Yeah,
with me.
We'll go back around. So go ahead, Mike. What's Hamden up to?
I'm about 4'4", very stocky dwarf. I have a shield on my back with my backpack, an axe at my side, dagger on the other side. I'm looking around. I'm a people watcher. I'm very curious about the little halfling, who seems very comfortable in this city. A little too comfortable, I think. So I'm definitely keeping my eye on him.
You don't see any orcs.
Yeah, I don't see any orcs, so I'm relaxed on that. I have bright, fiery red beard, and with a helm on, and my hair is pouring out from underneath of it. And I'm also waiting I'm looking to find a inn that will accept a dwarf, because this town's not very accepting since I've been here.
Yeah, they seem few and far between at this point, and no, I think you and Ronnie would make eye contact too, and realize that you're both out of your element or out of place. In other words, that you're not a local, but he looks very comfortable to you, and that probably strikes you as pretty odd. So maybe if it's okay, maybe we assume that you would all want to lay eyes on the ship.
Familiarize where the boat is, the route to it. Maybe buy some food from the food vendors on the way. Stuff I haven't seen before.
Yeah, so if you've got, I think that's a great point. As you're walking, there are vendors set up. There's a small market near the center point where you're at, and there are some food vendors there. If anybody's in need of food items, you can go ahead and purchase those as a hand wave from the whatever's listed in the player's handbook if you need to resupply for those types of common items. As you're walking around the city, you're able to easily just stop and do that as you're seeing things. If you need anything more specific or specialized, then you can seek that out after you've laid eyes on the boat and registered essentially for your trip so that they know you're going to be on board.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Brian. I heard you first. Go for it.
This Procampur, what is there? Is it a big city, Westgate? Because if I think I need something, I would like to try to buy it here, of course.
Yeah, it's a big city, but it's
Okay.
towards the end of your journey, and so it will be a while before you would be there. So you definitely would want to do any supplies here.
Okay.
Yep. What? Someone else had a question?
I was going to say the boat leaves tomorrow, so for lodging though, we obviously can't board tonight. We need to figure out where we're going to stay. Is that? Or
Yeah,
okay.
that's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
I also have a question.
Mhm.
How long of a journey is it from here to where we're heading?
You are led to believe it's about a week, plus or minus a day. You don't know exactly. It depends on the type of ship, but you're understanding it might take a week to get there. All right. So again, you guys can go ahead and get those common items or food items, and we'll take you down to the ship where you will register, and we'll see about getting your livestock on board. All right, here we are. You approach the dock. This is your ragtag group of travelers who are aspiring heroes who all again come up at the same time to the dock where some symbols hanging from the boat that resemble the token that you've been given, and you approach a sturdy looking gentleman standing on the dock leaning on some barrels. He looks at you as you walk forward, kind of looks you really up and down for a minute and says, "Traveling west, I assume." And he just directs that at all of you. He's picking his nails with a dagger. He's spitting on the floor, and he's leaning on these barrels.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was this guy again?
You believe
he's just a guy?
You believe he works on the ship.
Oh, Beijing Li. Say, yes, at least I am looking to travel west on the Osprey Herald. Sir, can you be of any assistance to me?
You got money, right?
Oh, the Priory has allowed me to travel. Yes, sir.
Well, then
I don't know about
I
these
got room
other.
for you. Is
heralds.
that your horse there, or pony? Is he coming too?
It's a beautiful pony, yes, but it's not mine. I don't own animals as such.
You're gonna need another token if you're bringing him on board. That token is for people. And he looks down at the halfling. He looks disgusted at him for a second. You don't wear shoes, you dirty kid.
I don't believe that's a child. I think there would be one of those halflings.
He just looks a little perplexed by this halfling walking around here. He seems to be a little unsteady about him. See, we don't usually let kids and women on the ship.
Oh my.
But if you got money, we can make something work. How many animals do you have to check in? Who all has a horse or a pony?
Bartholomew would step up and be like,
full riding horse.
Okay.
I brought a pony with me, he would say, and or with us, actually.
He doesn't even really look at the pony, but he says, "You got money, right?"
Some, yes, as well as this token.
The token will get you on, but I think you're gonna need to chip in a little bit for that mount.
Oh, I do have a token, and I present it.
All right. He at this point will ask then, if do you all have tokens, and is everyone presenting him with their token.
Yeah.
Who is he first? Who are you? And what position do you hold with the Osprey?
Glad you asked. The name's Winnick. I run the ship. I'm not really a captain, but I'm a coordinator. I make this ship go. If you want to get on board, you're going to have to give me your tokens, and you're going to have to pay for that livestock to get on.
What's your service charge?
I'm going to want 5 gold for each one of them, up front. And if they make a damn mess, I'm going to charge you more each day.
Seems a bit ruthless, but sure.
All right.
Bartholomew pulls out a sad sack of coins and fumbles through them looking a bit concerned.
Which one's Bart is the cleric, right?
Yeah. He's only got one piece of gold in there as he's fumbling through it looking for 5.
Beijing's going to try to do her magic of the trying to help with the transaction with her big charisma. Well, sir, 5 gold pieces just to stow a big animal seems quite a bit. Oh dear. Perhaps there could be some sort of negotiation? And she smiles.
How about we do you have a proficiency that you're thinking, or some other maybe skill beyond just the natural charisma check?
Oh boy. I don't really have anything other than history, religion, and artistic ability and some languages, so the answer to that is no.
Okay, go ahead and do a charisma check then, and let's see how effective your plea is.
Okay, let's see what this... I haven't done this before, but hopefully... Like a reaction roll? There we go. Maybe that'll work?
Yeah, I don't think that he seems too moved by your pleas. He kind of, again, is like, you don't look like you have money. That's his reaction. You just don't look like you have money. I don't
Am
think
I supposed to roll high or low on this?
I think it's negative because you got a negative consequence. What was your actual roll?
I rolled a 5, and then
Yeah.
I get...
Yeah, you got a bad reaction.
But
it's
it's
not.
taking away 6 and not giving me 6 then. Because that should have been 11 then.
I think it's like down a level, right? Isn't that there's like different, or I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how the sheet is configured, but I'm just reading the result the way it landed. So we'll have to figure out the math later, check out the macro or something. But I'm reading it as a slightly negative reaction that you didn't get him to bite on your winking eyes and your natural beauty. I think quite the opposite. He's thinking maybe you're poor travelers and that you're not going to be able to afford.
He's not wrong.
Into his sashling, it's a wrap around his waist, and pulls out 10 coins, 10 gold coins, and offers them to the mate there.
Does that cover?
My horse and the pony.
Okay.
Let's see. I saw him fumbling through his satchel there.
Got it. Okay, so you've covered Bartholomew. All right, he sits and checks the weight of that and checks to see the origin of the coins. Where was Kermwin from? Did you have any thoughts about where he may have been from, which direction from the inner sea?
He was originally from the Dale Lands around Cormyrean.
Aha. So he would probably recognize your coins as being from that kingdom, and he'd give you a sort of side-eye look because he's familiar with Cormyre, and it's definitely a place where a criminal wouldn't be too comfortable. So he takes note of that. You notice that he's checking on your coins and seeing those types of things. So he goes ahead and sticks that in his pocket and just waves you on. Says, go ahead, go load them up. And looks at the rest of you who have yet to cover your... I think just... who else has a pony? Because I'm sorry, I'm not clear on that.
It's just Bartholomew and Kermwin coverage for him, so...
Yeah.
He might actually, like, slightly prostrate to Kermwin and maybe wave some of the smoke coming off of his cistern and thanks of the lady's praise towards him for helping to get his pony on board.
Can I?
Just waves it off, and maybe one day you could help me with something.
What was your name again? He says, and
He holds his hand out. Kermwin.
oh, he squints a little bit as he shakes your hand.
And go ahead and pull the dust mask down and pull my traveling hood back. And yes, elf.
Indeed, well matched. Thank you.
I think Winnick chuckles a little bit as he sees that someone did a good deed for someone. He finds it amusing that there's still people around that do that sort of naive thing. So you notice he reacts a little bit to that as well. Sorry, someone had something.
I was just gonna say, Kerwin, you're an elf, right? And you just exposed that fact by pulling your hood down. Okay, I am noticeably uncomfortable and shifting even more in my body language. Just the fact that there's another member of my race around me. I guess also I don't have to pay. I like slam my token down on like the what's the thing? Willard? Winnick, sorry. It's a big city. I've been here a little while and I gather information about people and I just ask around wherever I am. Would I have any chance of knowing about this guy or having any idea of like his reputation, especially since I'm getting on this boat? Like,
I don't know. I'm not looking at your specific. You could try to gather information on him, but
I don't have proficiency or anything.
You may or may not already have something in your backstory. There are facts in there about various people, so if you don't see anything there, you would have to go and gather information. And at this point, you don't know a whole lot. You know that it's a galleon is the ship, and that he is associated with the ship. Like you do feel like that's, for a minute there you weren't sure, but now you do feel sure that he's connected to the ship. So
that he's that this is legitimately okay. Then I slam down my token. There you go. Just
he just swipes that thing cleanly off there and pockets it, keeps it in a completely different pocket. It looks like he's actually got a little scroll that he actually has with him, and he's pulling that out now, and he starts going through a register and he's writing a few things down as you guys are paying him. Who else needs to interact or ask him anything?
I need to give him my...
I'll just hand him the token and board the ship. I'll look for a vantage point where can I see the most of the activity, and I'll stay there.
So and I think I heard Mike too, or Hamden needs to get paid. So he at this point collects all your tokens, and again, for anyone that wants to bring their livestock, you're going to pay for that. So make sure you mark that. And at this point, he refers you. He says, "Look, you can't sleep on the ship tonight. We'll keep your livestock here. We'll keep it on board. You're paid for up front for that. But you guys can't stay on the ship tonight. We're still loading cargo. We got to get prepared for tomorrow. We can't have people in the way. So I would recommend that you stay at the inn across the street above the tavern, or find some other accommodation. But this ship isn't open until tomorrow morning."
Across the street at the tavern it is.
Understandable. What time do you plan on leaving? High tide?
He looks at you like, "We'll leave when we're ready. We'll leave when you're ready. You make sure you're here before late morning."
Jamie,
yeah.
At this point, I'm suspicious of this character. I have a proficiency observation. It's useful to note something as skill. I'm thinking that he cannot be the ship's captain. There is any assurance that he is the ship's captain, except for his word?
He said he was the coordinator, not the captain.
Yeah. Does it like that he really works here? He's in some capacity a person that can take your tokens and take charge for the creatures.
So is Ronnie asking him that, or just doing the observation to try
I'm trying to read him.
Okay. So I think your impression after hearing him talk and seeing him respond to you all after he put up his abrasiveness, he started to look like he was doing business. You were getting the sense that he is legitimately connected in some way, but you being a rogue think that he may be up to some other business as well, and you're not sure what that business is, but you do believe he's legitimately connected to the crew of the ship.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. All right. Anyone else have any other things to ask the captain?
While we're talking, do any of the crew seem to be paying us all any attention? Are the horses taken aboard?
Yeah.
And
So
do I see a couple of familiar faces farther down the wharf?
there are a couple of deckhands that stop you when you get to the edge, and they take them down into the galleon for you from that point. He nods at them to make sure that's all checked out, and that sort of seems like the only system they have for it. And so the horse just goes on board, and you don't really know which direction they headed with it, but it's now on the ship, and yeah, you're good on that in that sense.
Any familiar dark cloaks back on the wharf towards land, watching?
Do you want to do a some type of roll to see if you notice something out of the ordinary? Is that what you're saying? Behind
Yeah.
you or on the dock area? Sure. Yeah, if you'd like to. I don't know if you have a specific proficiency you're thinking of, or
Probably not.
okay. Let's see.
I'm not sure what it would even be.
Yeah, I think usually wisdom is associated with perception. And so I would probably take a wisdom roll, and we'll see if you see anything out of the ordinary.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, you do look on the docks behind you. Again, there are other people moving about. You do see some crew members loading things, so that seems normal to you. But you do notice that there are people that seem to be watching the area, and you're not sure if they're watching the ship or watching you. But you do see some people that look like they're keeping tabs on the ship or the cap or the coordinator. So you do sense that.
Okay. But nobody I have seen on my travel here.
No, you don't
Okay.
recognize. I would say that to everyone because I know you all have different things you've experienced up to this point. The captain and the crew and the strangers that are in and around the dock area are mostly residents are not familiar to you at this point. Yeah.
Would Bartholomew have had an opportunity to perhaps peek at or scry what Winnick was writing on his roster at
Possibly
all? Or
if you wanted to try to number one, I assume you have reading and writing.
yes.
Okay.
I think it just took that for common. So that would
Yeah.
apply, I believe, yeah.
Very likely he is human. So if you wanted to try to position yourself to where you could read it, I guess you could just do that boldly and make it known that you're trying to read. Or if you're trying to do it in a sneaky way, then we might do some type of check so which ways or how are you trying to glean what he's writing?
He'd probably be a little bit uncomfortable, but curious. He might be a little bit awkward trying to do it, so attempting to disguise himself, but perhaps not great at it. So he may try to make a check to be sneaky at that, but
Okay. If you want to go ahead and give I guess it'll be a dexterity, see if you're able to do it in a sly enough way.
sure.
Not quite. Yeah, so you get real close and are trying to get an angle to read. You do spot that he's scribbling sentences in common language, but you don't pick up what it is that he's written. And as he notices you getting close enough, he says, "You got any more money?"
So it's dried up.
Yeah,
I need that for
well, he said, "I'm not going to feed you on my ship." And if you got 1 coin in that bag, I don't know how you're going to make it, but you're going to be a thin one. Might blow off board.
Hibisco finds supplies then, as you state.
He'll roll
Well
up
met.
his scroll as you do that and tuck it in his jacket pocket. Good day to you, gentlemen, if there's nothing else. And lady.
I'm gonna look around at the group because it's pretty clear we're all like not comfortable with this situation. And just ask quickly. Anybody care to join me for a drink at the tavern?
Sure.
Did somebody say drink? I want a drink.
I'll try anything once.
All right.
So I'm gonna swiftly head that direction and assume people follow or come with anyway.
All right.
Thank
perfect.
Winnick and wander off.
Yeah, so at this point, as you guys end your business with Winnick, he walks down the dock towards the boat, grabs part of the side, and kind of swings over as if he's done it a million times. Looks like at home on the ship. He talks to a couple of people on the top of the deck as you're walking off towards the tavern that he pointed to across the street. And we'll cut over there. And by the way, I didn't playtest every single one of these screens, so if anything that I'm saying doesn't add up to what you're seeing, just call it out. Let me know if you're not able to see or if anything looks funky, and we'll try to fix it as we go. So I assume you guys can see this, and you can see the first level of the tavern across the way here. And I do
I'm
have.
still on the dock.
I see the ship
Yeah, we're
still.
on the dock.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. That's exactly why I said what I said because I was afraid of that. All right. All right. Let's drag this. That's what I got to do. See anything now?
Tavern.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so you guys arrive. This is a tavern called the Skinny Rat. And so you again get as you approach the building that it's a little bit overused, maybe not as maintained as you would be comfortable with normally, but situated really nicely close to the docks. You've got a good vantage point from the front area where you can look back and see the ships and where you're going to be heading tomorrow. And so you arrive at the door of this tavern, and inside you do hear some activity, and we'll let you guys enter into the tavern. I think you can control your tokens, and if you click on them, you can control them.
Yeah.
After it's activated, you should be able to use your arrow keys to move it. The party one I'll get rid of. I just wanted to show you where you were. And so this is where we'll go in order. I'll have each of you go off of the turn order we already did and give you a chance to ask any questions as you come into the room and decide what you want to do. So I've got Ronnie up first. Let's say you're the quickest to the door. You're the most thirsty.
Of course.
What's Ronnie do? Go ahead and you can move yourself in if you'd like, and I can describe for you the scene a little bit more, and you can interact with some folks if you'd like.
We'll make a discreet entrance. I'll look for a corner, a dark corner, to install myself. Maybe like here.
I'm sorry, could you hit that again?
And I will survey the place.
Okay.
I will pay attention to the customers, to the people that work here.
Sure.
But I'll try not to look very serious. I'll try to look relaxed.
So I think to describe this, you walk in, again, a barefoot, barely 3-foot humanoid walking into the tavern. You see a couple of dwarves seated at the table just inside first, and then you notice at this other table a couple of figures. One of them you can't tell if is human or half elf or elven. The other one looks to be an elf. They're sitting in pairs there. There's a barkeeper behind the bar. Nobody's seated at the bar or at the bar area. And then I think what sticks out to you as you're scanning the room is that there's a human sitting on the steps over here in the corner, and it seems a little unusual that someone's sitting on the steps. He just looks like he's not really enjoying himself like the other people are, or relaxing. He seems out of place to you. So that's what you notice. And at that point, the barkeep actually walks over, and he'll be at your table as the others are coming in. So next I've got Hamden.
I'm going to enter and come over and sit at the table and order a round of drinks for all of my new friends.
Excellent. Anything also that you're looking for as you're coming in? You do
Definitely.
notice the dwarves, I would say. That would probably be like smack you in the face, because you would just right away sense that there were a couple dwarves in the room, and you hadn't seen too many up until now, but you've seen a few.
And I'll buy a round for them, for the dwarfs.
Ah, generous gentlemen. They will be most pleased. Kermwin, what would you like to do?
As I click the token first. As he comes through the door, he uses his cantrip to create a little dust dervish to go from head to toe, cleaning off the road grime and bursting it back out the door behind him.
Yeah, I think that gets a little bit of attention, maybe. Just that's a good flair of an entrance, and certainly I think the dwarves raise an eyebrow and look, and the human who's sitting on the staircase is obviously notices it. He seems pretty aware of what's going on around him and takes note of what just happened, but otherwise they all go right back to what they were doing as you
I
sit down.
paid him no mind and walked straight to the table because he heard something about free drinks.
It's echoing outside now. Free drinks. All right, Kurza.
Oh, let's go in. He's not going to necessarily draw attention to himself, but he'll just come in. Since we seem to be gathering at this table, he'll come in there as well, take a seat, and I guess wait for the drink. I take note of do they look, I don't know, are they locals, do you think, or are they travelers? Is this a mid-grade inn, or one end of the spectrum or the other?
I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's some type of check or skill that you would use to maybe get that specific. I guess just basic part of it is that
feeling.
Yeah, the general feeling of it is that you've noticed mostly humans in this city, so you're surprised to see an elf and two dwarfs represent the demographics of the tavern, because it doesn't seem to reflect the city that you've just been traveling through. So that is probably the part to you that seems a little bit out of place or different from the outside. So you would ascertain that they are not locals, and you may start to be thinking that they're travelers as well, but you're not 100% certain. So Bart, I think we are to Bart.
Bart would enter after you all, and he might actually turn towards the dust cloud that Kirmwood made, and just a passing murmur, try and talk to it for a second before entering and following you all to the table.
And you're still carrying the incense.
Yeah, he's
as well, right? So
he's not actively burning any right now, so it's probably died down. But I imagine there's a bit of scent coming off of it, pretty much perpetually. And he would reload it occasionally just to bring about more mist and whatnot. But besides that, you do hear him behind his mask. It sounds like he's, breathing heavily, just trying to pull air into his lungs through the mask he's wearing on his face, which is silly, actually.
What's the surface of the mask? I think it
looks like it looks like a silvered fabric almost. So you can see it moving slightly as he breathes in and out. But it also causes him to have to breathe a bit more heavily than normal when he's just Just trying to breathe through it.
Okay. Very good. But yeah, I think that you definitely, again, as you come in, you notice the difference in some of the people that are here. I think particularly the elf seated closest to the door seems to react to the odor right away. Just seems to have detected it right away and gives you a stink eye. You could tell it's just not, does not seem like they have seen anything like you before. And so they give you that sense that they're surprised by your appearance, but they're perturbed by the smell. So that's the one reaction that you get from the crew. The dwarves don't seem to care or even turn at all. The other one who's sitting here is just looking down at his own plate and didn't seem to even show any reaction to your entrance. You are now all seated there. I think, has everybody gone? We got all 7 of you in, or no? Who else is
Not
out
me.
there? Bajin.
Yep. Leah's doing
And
2
Herbivore.
things. She's trying to keep up with Kurza, she seems to have befriended the most, and she's looking for someone with the pipe and or the hookah, because she needs a puff of something and she needs it now. So if she smells or sees someone with that, she'll definitely go over there. Or else she'll just go over here and look. She's also takes one look to see who followed her up from the port before she enters the room.
Oh, okay.
Burn.
Yeah, do you want to roll a check for that and see if she is able to keen eye anybody, or I'm guessing just wisdom, unless you've got a particular skill you're thinking, or
Sure. There's a wisdom check.
yeah, definitely kept a close eye out. You were towards the end of the line of this parade coming into the tavern, and so you kept a really sharp eye out, and you didn't sense that anybody was following you at this point. So you looked around pretty closely and you didn't feel like there's anybody eyeballing you.
Do I spot a hookah?
Let's see. Let's give you a chance to spot a hookah. Let's say if you see one, it'll be 10% or let's see. I'll give you a 20% chance maybe. Let's do that. So you want to roll percentiles and see? No, you don't see a hookah around. You do smell all kinds of things in here, so you imagine that it wouldn't be a hard thing to acquire, but you don't see anybody currently using one or smoking at the moment.
When we're all in here, I'm definitely going to hit up the innkeeper for some sort of whatever
Yeah,
passes for smoke.
I'll get you. They need a rule for hookah, random hookah table. That's what. So I think we're down to Ervalor. Is that how you say it? Just want to make sure I'm saying
I was
that.
thinking Ervalor, yeah.
Ervalor. Okay.
Yeah, elven names are weird. I'm thinking that I was just intentionally taking a slow pace, shifting into kind of as inconspicuous as I can be as a demi-human walking here around. Anyway, I'm looking as we go in. I guess also I got beaten to the punch, but I'm going to be looking to see if we're being followed or if anybody from the docks is tailing us or something like that.
Okay.
So,
yeah, if you'd like to also roll a wisdom check,
yeah,
you can see if you spotted something different.
sure, might as well. Oh, I thought I could do that. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I can do that from my character sheet, right? Just
Yeah, if you click on go to the ability
submit.
tab.
There we go. Okay, cool. Okay. Yep, succeed.
Okay. Yeah, I think the thing that is a little different because you're looking around generally, you notice that the coordinator and the crewmen who were talking as you guys walked off were watching you guys as you got closer to the tavern. So you did notice that they were looking at your direction, but you didn't notice like any other people in or around the docks that you hadn't interacted with acting suspiciously or anything along those lines.
Okay. I mean, then I'm gonna, casually slip in, see all the other demi-humans sitting at the table, hurry on over. But as I do, I'm looking around just to see if I identify any other faces from the docks that I saw maybe near the ship or something.
Yeah.
I assume not, but
We have any humans amongst us.
Oh yeah, it is
Our
actually.
party.
Bart
There's
and Vajin are both human, I believe. And then you've got 3 elves, a dwarf, and a
Mhm.
halfling, I think is that. I think that's
Okay.
our breakdown.
Who's the other elf? I'm sorry.
Well, I'm one elf.
Yeah,
Okay. Curza's. Okay.
Curse is an elf.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
So at this point, yeah, you've all filed in and you're standing around the table, all hoping to crowd into this table, and the barkeep says, "Goodness, use this other damn table." And he points you over to this one in the back, and he says, "I'll bring you the drinks right away." And he turns around and shaking his head a little bit that all of a sudden he's got this busy crowd coming into his place where he felt like he was managing just fine serving the 4 that were here before you. So he heads back behind the counter and starts to prepare some tankards. I assume that's everyone is getting a tankard.
Do we want to pull the 2 tables together, gentlemen?
Oh, you know what? I messed up something too, guys. I wanted to, this might be a good point to correct it. So I had mentioned to you before that each of you received an inheritance possibly when you left home.
Oh yeah.
And there's a table that we have that you're going to each roll on to determine what your inheritance is. So if you go to the collection tab, you'll see rollable tables at the bottom. And there's one called Inheritance Session 1. And what we'll do is we'll go through the turn order and have each of you roll to see what it is that you inherited. And then just make sure that you put that directly into your sheet because I won't be able to do that for you there.
Where do I
Yeah. If you go to the upper right, between the journal tab and the settings tab, it's that other tab that's in there. It's called collection. It's got macros on it.
Oh, okay.
Do you see that?
Yeah.
And so this is where
Oh.
I can build like custom tables for us. And so
Mhm.
this is where when we do weapon fumbles or critical hits, you'll come in and you'll roll from these to get random results. And
I
then
see.
for the inheritance, there's 16 different outcomes that you could get from the inheritance roll. When it's your turn, you'll just hit the roll button and it'll roll it into the chat log what your result was.
Gotcha.
Okay.
That's awesome.
We'll start with Hamden is the first one I've got right now in the turn order. So if you'd like to take a shot. All right, you got 10 gold. So you can add 10 gold to your sheet. I realized this for Bartholomew. It might have helped you. And although you probably have an IOU to Kermwin. So
You do, yeah. And yeah.
how about go ahead,
Well,
Kermwin. Do yours next.
Okay, roll in here.
I don't know why I got out of order.
Potion of Sweetwater.
Yep. So I can give you more information on that, but if you just want to go ahead and record that. And I skipped Ronnie. It was out of order. Ronnie, you want to see what you possibly got?
The one I rolled already does not count.
I'm sorry. Oh, you already rolled one? I'm
I
sorry.
jumped at
Oh, you jumped the
I
gun
jumped
there.
at the gun and I.
No, you're good. Oh my God. So you got the you got one of the rare items. So and it probably couldn't have gone to a better person. Very
Yeah,
fittingly.
that's
So
what I'm thinking.
yeah, so you inherited a +1 dagger that's +2 to tiny or small creatures. That was one of the rarest
Good
results.
to kill kobolds.
That would do it. Or orcs now. No, I guess they're medium, but
Very small works.
yeah. All right, so we're at, I believe we're at Kurza.
All right.
You have a Ring of the
Wow,
Ram.
that's very good.
That's very
Wow.
good. Yeah.
Ring of the Ram.
So I believe that's unarmed attacks that you get bonuses to. Probably not the most fitting thing for a wizard, right? But nonetheless, it's something.
Surprise.
Very good
bestow
for a
upon
wizard, in my opinion.
Maybe.
It's very good for a wizard, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
That's true.
Yeah, something
He
to
can
surprise
punch for
people.
2d6 damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So make sure you
Let's
get that,
see.
and you're welcome to look those up, guys.
Take doors.
I think Bart is up next. 10 gold. Yeah, there you go. Now you can Pay your debts.
Am I fumbling around the pouch that I didn't look in, perhaps, and
Yeah,
with an
you had,
apologetic face towards Kerwin, being, "Oh, let me buy you some extra drinks tonight."
Hey, look at that. Just what we need is healing.
that's a good one, for sure,
That is a good one.
for sure.
That's a real good one.
I am actually very
And
interested in that. Yeah.
Verler?
Airvalor.
Airvalor. I'm gonna
Air-
get that. I'm gonna get that. Airvalor.
Yeah. All right, let's.
10 gold. Okay. So I think everybody's gone, right? We settled that. Yeah, just take note of that. And again, I'm sure that some of those things will come in handy. All right. The barkeep, go ahead and if you guys want to rearrange yourselves around the two tables, he's like urging you to do that. He wants to fill the tables so that more people come in. And then as he comes
Okay.
back over, he carries a bunch of tankards with him and places one in front of all of you and looks at you. He's looking you up and down. That's going to be 2 gold.
Not a problem.
Okay. Somebody paying that for the group? Or
I am paying that. Hamden is paying that.
okay.
Yeah, since
I also-
Helen was paying for the drinks, I think I can pay for food.
So if
Do you
guys-
serve food here?
That's a great question. He goes ahead and pulls out a little like soiled piece of paper out of his back pocket, and he sets it down on the table, and he says, "Let me go serve those dwarves that you've paid for their drinks. Take a look at this." And so if you guys go into the handouts, I'm gonna add in there is a handout in there called a Tavern menu. And if you go in there and look at the Tavern menu, you can order things from the Tavern menu if you would like to do. And so that's the information he drops in front of you. He goes and starts to serve the dwarves, and he's taking care of that as you guys are looking that over. I was going to say at this point, one of the things that you're noticing in the area is that this human who's sitting on the steps back here, it seems like there's another seating area up here where there's possibly more people that are out of your range of vision that are seated up there. And so you just get the sense that there's like a private room almost over there. And then in this direction, you see a door, and every once in a while, you see the door open, and somebody looks out, and then they go back in, and it looks like someone who works there, but they don't come out. So those are the things that you're noticing in the room. But otherwise, the dwarves, once they're served, they stand up on their chairs, and they raise their tankards to Hamden and say, "Thank you, fellow dwarf. It's good to see a good man here in this shady town." And so they start to enjoy the ale that you've purchased, and they get a little boisterous by the fact that something good out of the ordinary happened to them, and they seem to be pretty pleased about that. So their spirits are high.
I raise my tankard to them and salute them.
And they cheers to you in Dwarvish, and they acknowledge your table, like the people who are sitting at your table, as being okay with them. They almost like nod because they're with you. They really like that you extended that olive branch to them. Everyone who's sitting at that table, you can tell that the dwarves have a more favorable opinion of you now that your friend has bought them this simple drink. Anybody at this point, unless anyone has anything specific, you can decide how you want to run through this, but I'll start with you, Hamden. Is there anything that you wanted to order or check out or ask or anything along those lines?
Yeah, I wanted to ask the barkeep if there's any rooms for rent, or if he knows a place that would have rooms for rent for the night.
He says, yes, indeed, there is a loft here on the top floor. There are some beds available. I don't know if I can accommodate all of you. I might have to go and do some checking, but I have a feeling we might be able to make some arrangement. And I don't know if that's actually probably not in the tavern menu. I don't think I put it in there. So he's going to charge 2 gold is the rate for a bed for the evening.
No problem.
Bartholomew might pipe up and offer up some gold that he mysteriously found in his pouch that he couldn't find earlier. To...
You get a look from Kerwin.
he looks a little disappointed in himself and says, "Yeah, I can cover this, guys. And ladies will be sleeping well tonight, hopefully." And offers up the 2 gold for the room.
It's 2 gold for a bed, is what he says, and he
Ah,
clarifies
bed. Oh.
it's a loft with multiple beds, and each bed is 2 gold a night. That's his rate.
So he talks,
We are
he puts his
working
foot in his
together.
mouth, and then starts pulling out more and more gold, going, "Oh boy."
I'll be like,
Running low.
no need for that. No, that's fine. I'll
Save
help.
your coin.
And pull
Save
out some-
your
yeah.
coin.
So is everyone going to pay for a bed for the evening at this point?
Yes.
Yes.
And
Yes,
I will.
everybody.
anyone not going to?
Lee will, when it comes time to pay, she pulls out this huge sack of coins and slams it on the counter and says, "Oh dear, 2 gold." And she looks at her hand for the longest time. And then she counts out 2 gold pieces. And then she looks at her hand again and looks at the gold and then pulls out another gold piece and orders some fruit and a tea, and then she stashes this huge thing of coins back. She says, "I would like 1 tea and 2 pieces of fruit and 1 bed, please, sir.
Very well. So,
And any smoke that you have."
I'll check and see if we have any clean pipes or available.
Oh, that would be just so good of you. Thank you so much. And she hands him the 3 gold.
Thank you. Anybody that is not wanting to pay or do anything different around the room arrangement, just to make sure?
No,
Good.
it's fine.
No. Mark will definitely try to pay for Kierwin's room, if Kierwin will accept that.
I'll allow it.
Bed, per se, yeah.
So
Yeah.
the barkeep collects it all and he starts looking at you again and he's, "Are y'all headed out of port from here, or are you coming or going?"
We're
Well-
heading out tomorrow.
Sir, I just came and I will be leaving in the morning, yes. Will there be any change with that? Did I give you the right amount? And she's just looking at her hand again and counting her fingers.
He just, "Yeah, we're good. We're good." That's what we're good. You're all set. We're all set. I'll get you
Oh.
your food here in a minute. And
Oh,
we're all
thank
set."
you. Thank
Um,
you so much.
He says, have you sailed the inner sea before? Have any of you sailed the inner seas before?
Oh, no, but I hear
No.
there are quite the monsters in there. Big, and they attack ships. Is that true?
That's the rumor. Yeah, I get a lot of that here. We hear about those things quite a bit, but it's been a while since anything too wild has happened out there. I think it's settling down, but it picks up at certain times, it seems. I don't know. These sailors are always talking about it in here. I try not to pay that much attention to it. All I know is it hurts my business.
I'll be sure not to mention it again.
Anyone else want food? Or anything
Yeah,
else?
Yeah, I do.
I'll get some cheese sausage and fruit and the 2 gold for the bed.
All right.
I'm a hardy dwarf.
Bartholomew will get cheese and sausage as well.
And sundered suds for our tables.
So he's
We'll
like,
have one for everybody.
at this point, he makes a beeline for that door that you'd seen opening and goes back there, and you hear him talking, and then another person comes out as he's working in there. You see another person come out and takes a look at your table. This time they step all the way out and look at your table, go all the way back in, and so you know that they're working on all of that. And he comes back to you all, and he gives you a coin that's like it almost looks like a wooden coin, and he's just, "Show this when you come and go, and your bed is upstairs," and he points to the door that's been opening. That's where you would have to go through to go upstairs to the top floor.
Here.
Yeah, he points to that. I'm pointing at the wrong thing. I'm sorry. I clicked it. It's over here. It's behind you. Yeah.
Up the stairs.
Yep. So if you go up those steps, you can pick your beds. Essentially, first come, first serve. Don't make any ruckus. And once the sun's up, I make no promises that you won't be disturbed.
I'll buy a round for the table as well.
I guess I'll ask the barkeep, what kind of accommodations do you have over there? And I'll look over in the corner where the human is sitting. Are there better rooms or?
Ooh, oh yeah, that guy he's an interesting fella.
It just seems like there's a extra space over there. Do travelers stay there, or
that's just a private area that's reserved for very important people. And I don't know this guy. I don't know, but he's got the coin, and he wanted the space, so he's up there. He's got a bunch of stuff with him. I don't know what he's up to, but he's up there. He's been up there all day and going back and forth between here and every store in town. But he spends money and pays for his drinks and his food. He's not been staying here, but he seems to like that corner, and I don't bug him much. They don't cause any problems for me.
Is he human, or?
I haven't seen his face. I don't know. I assume he's a human. Just seems tall enough to be one.
Interesting.
And he's walking with that other human, so I don't know. Maybe I assume they travel together, but I don't know. You guys are a mixed bag. Could be anyone.
Fair enough. I give him the coin and order an elf wine and a lamb, and ask why the guy's been actually sitting on the steps. Is he preventing us from going to talk to them, or?
Oh, I took it that he didn't want to be bothered and wanted to make sure that nobody assumed that area was open. So I think he's just making sure that nobody disturbs him. That's my take on it. But there's a couple of them up there, and so I don't know. They're again, they don't cause any problems for me, and they pay their bills. They might be traveling. I don't know if they're coming or going either. Everybody in here is coming or going.
How long have they been here?
Oh, the last couple of days. If I remember, they came in 3 days ago, and they've been regularly here. And again, I've seen them running around, coming in and out of here with all kinds of stacks of things and doing something with it. Again, I think they might be travelers.
Very well.
So he goes and fetches food. At that point, the person in the back comes out and brings out the food for everyone. The dwarves are settled down now. They don't look as gregarious as they were earlier, but everybody seems to be keeping to themselves. At that point, after you guys have been served, let's just say that it's not the best fare you've ever had, but after all the traveling you've done and all the things that you've seen in and around town, you still feel like it's a comforting meal. So you do feel good about the fact that the food didn't make you sick, but it certainly wasn't anything that you would come back for. And as you're enjoying that, this guy here at the table, let's ping him. He stands up after a couple minutes and walks over and up onto the landing past the human who is sitting on the steps, and the human lets him pass, and he heads up to that stair area that you're talking about. That's where we're at. These dwarfs, the two dwarfs at this table, eventually they get to a point where they retire to the upstairs area. So it looks like those two dwarves are staying upstairs as well. And so they both, as they're walking by, stop at your table, and they say, "Hey, you guys are real generous. We appreciate what you did. Where are you headed?" Does anyone respond to them?
We head west.
Yep, west is the place to be. That's where all the work is and all the wealth. That's where we're heading to. We might see you again sometime.
Bartle mentioned he's hoping to get a glimpse of the Isle of Presper.
The Isle of Presper.
Yes. This is where we dedicate our time and willingness to the Lady Lyra.
It's a mysterious place. I've heard of it. I've never seen it with my own eyes, but I hear it's always foggy there, and there's always some bad weather about. So I wouldn't go near it if I were you, but hey, good luck to you. Hope that works out.
I ask them if they know anything about the Isle or the Dwarven ruins of Talmonar.
Oh, yes, absolutely. What dwarf doesn't know about this? Of course, I think we should hope one day that we find those ruins that were lost in the middle of the inner sea. We are not personally looking for it, but we are aware of other dwarfs who are obsessed to find it. But we know not of much more about it, and obviously it's probably lost in legend at this point. Would you be careful? Because there are pirates out there, including dwarves.
I'm gonna ask before they leave. What's up with that shady fellow in the corner? Have you? Isn't that weird? That guy just standing guard. You know anything about that?
Yeah, we thought it was a little out of place, but we're not from here, so we didn't take too unkindly to it. They didn't bother us or say anything to us, but they seem to be preoccupied. That's about it. All right, anybody else have any other questions for the dwarfs before they pass by you and head up the steps?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, they make their way up the steps and out of your view. And at that point, again, you guys are finishing up your food, and I think we went a little long, but I wanted to take a quick break. We're right on the hour right now, so if everyone would like to take a quick 5-minute break or so, 5-7 minutes or whatever you need to take care of things, then we'll come back here and meet in a few minutes. Sound
That
good? Cool.
Works for me.
Thanks, guys. Speaking of eating, as we zoom back into the bar, the tables here, you guys have cleaned your plates. I think in some cases the rolls were a little stiff, so you might have stuck it in your pocket for the next day because it's not going to be too great tonight either. You're free to decide if there's anything else you want to do in the main area here, or ask the bartender or anything.
How late is it getting?
It's evening. It's evening. The dwarves look like they probably turned in a couple hours after dusk was where we're at. So somewhere in that
So it's
range.
nighttime.
It's not pitch black out yet, but it's close. Close to full dark. So
I guess.
After. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I interrupted what you were.
I was going to say, as soon as Kerwin's plates are gone, he digs out his spell book and his journal from his backpack and starts taking notes on his cantrip.
Around the same time, actually, I guess you would see me dig around in my backpack, pull out like a metal case, like I guess a scroll case, filled with reams of paper, like a lot of paper on me, and a what do you call it, inkwell, feather and quill and everything, and I start privately, but still not really, writing down something. Yes, observations of today, and just recording information.
Yeah, so I think you guys, after having spent, each of you taking your own path and arriving here, and then now finally having settled into knowing what's going on and being somewhat familiar with each other, you may decide at this point to share rumors and information with one another to see what lines up and doesn't line up. So I can give you an opportunity to do that if you'd like to have a conversation amongst the party and piece anything together that you think or anything like that. And
So do we think that we've gotten past that we know each other by at least some sort of name by now? So we don't have to go through all that?
Yeah, no, I should think so. I'm not asking you to introduce yourselves. I'm just thinking that you guys each have been given different rumors and knowledge. And at this point, that those might be things that you would talk to one another about to some extent, is what I was getting at, because those are things that are pertinent to your current situations.
I will say something to the party. to the ones are in my table. I will write in the chat so it can be recorded for future reference, okay?
No.
A question on it says here that I passed a caravan with a man in dark clothing. Would he be in this tavern?
You haven't seen him in this tavern. Yeah, you would recognize him if you saw him again, and you haven't seen him since then. You haven't seen him today.
Okay.
Actually, the same thing would go for me. There's somebody that I've seen around in my rumors. Have I a hooded person? Have I seen them in the area or in this tavern? Should I say more?
I guess I would say I could confirm that you haven't. I believe you
Okay.
haven't, unless it was about another party member, of course.
No. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Cool.
And let's
I mean-
see. Kevin, I'm sorry, yours did not get in there. So I'm just saved it. If you check yours again, they're not formatted very cleanly, but you should have them in there now. My apologies.
There it is.
That's my bad.
So my character will follow up on the shopping and say that I've heard this human who shops buys a lot of old books. He's after ancient books, and she shrugs her shoulders like she does. And also, when the elf Ervalor or whatever,
Yes.
and her gets introduced, she looks strangely at you when you mention your name, and apparently, according to my rumor, you and I have arrived at the same time, and I'm not sure how that happened, and I don't think it matters, but when I find out your name, I'm giving you a strange look.
I don't seem phased by that. Just so you know. Sorry, who was it who was talking about this person interested in books? I've seen him. I've seen this man. He's just sitting alone in a corner, muttering something about dragons. It was so bizarre. Stacks of books and scrolls. In this dark garb. Very peculiar.
Did he have a lot of people with him? And since I'm sitting at the back, I nod over towards back over this way, maybe a little bit. There's a guy up there that maybe has an entourage of people.
Right. Jamie, actually, I don't have the details on that. Was there an entourage when I observed this event? It doesn't say in my.
No,
Was
no,
he
you
alone?
didn't. You saw him.
Okay.
You saw the person by themselves.
I saw them all by them. They were just alone, but mountains of books. Obviously, they must have deep pockets and doing up to something peculiar.
Well, then we all have our secrets.
Isn't that true?
Like,
Any other?
And the dwarves were talking about. It seemed well known that there was work to be had west of here. Do we know anything about that at all? I had not heard that.
I had just heard rumors about Raven's Bluff. Has anybody heard? Apparently, there's good opportunity there to make some coin.
I'm fairly certain that my character, and out of character, my character would be looking for work, and that's why she's heading west. But I, as a player, I don't know anything about it. But my character would mention something about the work, and that's why she's traveling there. I could make something up if that's good for you, or
I would say for Beijing, she is aware of a. Let's see, what was it? It's
farming. Farming would be good.
There's an area in that region. So if you guys want, we could cut over to the map real quick, and I can just show you. Actually, that's the wrong one. We want the inner sea. All right. You're here and in Westgate, and you are
Where is
going.
here?
Are you? Oh, I'm sorry. I am not dragging you with me here. So this is Procampur. This is Raven's Bluff, and these Earthfast mountains that are in between here. Beijing knows this as an area that the Druidic Order has told her would be a possible place for a sacred grove. So she would have some awareness of that. So that would be something that would be of interest to her in that region.
Okay.
Yeah.
She will stick to the story that she's heard there's work inland of Procampus, and that's what she's going to look for.
What is the destination of our ship again?
Procampur.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right here.
Sorry, Procamper.
Gotcha.
I'll not.
Bartholomew might chime up and say that if we were to stop perhaps on the island of Presper, we could all become rich. There's much riches to be had there.
So that's something
if
that
we could...
Kurza was asking about, right? Yeah. Same thing.
My Lady of Mist presides there and watches over us all and provides us with wealth and plenty.
Yeah, I've heard it's the Isle of Illusion.
I can see as well as the rest of you, perhaps. He breathes heavily, trying to look through his mask to see you all. He looks a little bit uncomfortable, and he might chuckle a little bit, actually. And especially if no one responds to him. He's in the air of silence. You might hear Bartholomew just start laughing for no reason. But
I was just going to respond to that eventually. I'm really just looking to get out of this place. Any place where I can make some coin has to get lost. I'm all for it. I would be fine with stopping there.
Sure. Anywhere, any place we can go that we can pick up some coin and find some new things. Just wander for a bit.
Yeah, so I think at that point you would all realize that you don't know the full itinerary of the ship. You just know that the destination that you have passage to will ultimately be Procampur. So those seem like things to you that would be obvious to figure out when you get to the ship and get more clarification on if they're planning other stops, just to plant that seed for you. So I'll cut back. We can, again, is there anything else that you all want to do here? You haven't seen any other activity as you've been discussing and sharing your information with each other. It seems like the place has kind of died down, but the same characters are still loitering about.
My character, as long as she gets her smoking in, is ready to go.
Sure, I'm gonna say that he brings you a adequate enough pipe. It's a deep enough pipe that Beijing can get enough of the effect that she's looking for. It's a crude pipe, but it's all he had. So yeah, there you have it.
That's a great little quirk.
All right, and anything else from anyone? And I'm just trying to leave it open here, guys. So if you feel like you've got any, if we're not getting to you, just let me know. But I want to give everybody a chance if there is anything.
If everybody else is heading upstairs, if it's like time to go upstairs, at that point I'm probably going to stay around longer, maybe until close to midnight. Do elves need only 4 hours rest or something like that? Yeah. So I'm going to, maybe until the bar closes or something, but stay and write, or eventually pretend to write, and keep my eye on the man on the stairs as inconspicuously as I can, but just see if there's any more movement in and out of that area. Just watch.
Yeah. Just corner of your eye thing, and ear open as well, I bet.
Yep. Well, I'll keep... Yep.
Any other actions that anyone wants to do, or is there anyone that's ready to bow out? You don't have to. It's just it's your choice.
I think Hamden is going to go ahead and go upstairs. He has had way too much mead.
Nice.
We'll see how that sits.
Bartholomew might actually try and light up a little bit of incense and make a scene of leaving the table and heading upstairs whispering into the smoke that he's making in front of him as he goes.
Just want to be the last to retire.
Are you gonna sit with me while I kind of watch? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not leaving the. I'm just riding into the night, going over my spell books and everything.
So I'll move you
I'll
up
need
there,
4 hours.
Hamden. I'm sorry,
Hey.
who else was going or leaving the area?
You can take my token away, DM Jamie.
I think Bartholomew was going to follow Sir Hamden as well, upstairs.
Upstairs, okay. And everyone else is staying down there for now, or anything else?
I'll have one last beer before I head up. Or a wine this time, maybe.
Mixing it up right at the end. That'll
That's
make you
right.
sleep good. That's the trick. That's the elven trick, I think. Sure, yeah, so you're able to do that, and then you join them up there. And so we know that Ervalor is staying there. What were you doing again?
Staying long into the night. It only
Sam.
needs 4 hours of rest, so he'll time it about 4 hours supposed to sunrise before he goes
Yeah.
up.
Those lucky elves. Those lucky elves. I'm sorry, and Ronnie, you had said your intent and I missed you. What did you want to do?
I'll be the last one to retire. I'll
Okay.
keep watch
Okay.
on everything here.
Yeah, so what we'll do is I'll split this up into two different things. I'm gonna share this part of the map with those of you who are upstairs. Everyone's gonna see it, but hopefully you see that. So when you come to the top of the stairs, 3 beds occupied, one here and here. One dwarf took the big bed. And so you guys can decide how you want to arrange yourselves in the loft area here. You don't see any other equipment or anything laying around or disturbed on the beds, but the beds are like randomly moved around and things, so there you go. And then for you guys downstairs, essentially it starts to get pretty late. You start to hear a little bit of what sounds like packing up going on in that loft area. During this time, a few humans and sailors have come in and out and had a few drinks and been on their way. Nothing out of the ordinary or really notable to you that until this, and so they pack up and seem to be heading out. And what is a single file group of folks that come down the steps, and a man dressed in all black robes is with them.
Is that
And
the same person I've seen before?
yes,
Dude,
at this point you recognize him when you see that dark figure emerge from the back corner, and that each of the people that are with him are carrying bags and boxes, wooden crates with them. Each person that's coming down with him is carrying these things, and they single file out of the tavern and out into the road. The elf who is sitting here stands up at that point and takes a step back to the door and is facing you with its back to the door. And you start to get the sense that elf had been watching you guys the entire time at that point. There you go. They step out there. I give you guys a chance to.
if I make my way upstairs, not like I'm running or anything, but just get up and trying to look inconspicuous, but also trying to be quick about it. If I get upstairs, are there any windows or anything I can slip out? Any egress from the top floor? Oh, that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, so you get up, and you're not really trying to make it too hidden, but you're moving, upstairs. Okay. Yeah, so you get
Look
to the
like
top.
I'm going to bed.
Right. Yeah, like all of a sudden I'm exhausted. And so
Yeah.
you head upstairs, and yeah, you can see that there are some small windows up here that you could see the street side, the dock side from. if you wanted to take a look out of them.
I was thinking about going through it, but don't split the party. Yeah,
I'll let you consider that, but at least you could
I'll
look.
watch.
You could watch, yeah.
I'll watch.
So when you look out, you see them heading across the street, and they're in your vision. Ronnie, you as well can see them through a window in the front, and you see them heading straight across the street as well. Ultimately, you see them head towards the docks, and then it gets dark enough that you're not sure which way on the docks they went, but they did head straight for the docks.
That the area of the dock, our ship is. It's not like it's some area of the docks where our ship isn't, right? It could be.
Could easily be. And that's what's on your
Yeah.
mind as you're watching. You're like, what? Are they going that way? So, yeah, you definitely think it's plausible that they went towards your dock. Kevin, anything you wanted to, or Kermlin?
He puts up his. He gives it about a 10 count after they leave. The other elf stands up. He puts his quill back in its case and puts his inkwell closed, puts everything back in his backpack, and looks at the other elf, says, "Are you going to keep me here, or?"
He turns around as soon as you address him and walks out and heads in the same direction, seemingly straight across the roadway.
And then, as soon as he leaves, I follow.
Do I see Kermwyn following?
Yeah, so you get to the door and you see the elf trail. At this point, he's the only one, so he's walking across the street, and you can attempt to follow him at this point.
I'm gonna
with
flip out.
some
Yeah.
stealth would be, I think, appropriate, because I don't think you're
Sure.
trying to let them know that you're following them.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys can both attempt to do that. Ronnie, you're welcome to follow or do something different if you'd like as well. I know the
I will follow from a distance.
Air Valor will move you back because you're coming outside as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does Ervalar mention anything as
Oh yeah. Oh, I thought everybody was asleep, not like screaming
I
it.
assumed that they
but-
were asleep and that you wouldn't
Okay.
have woken them because
I was
they had
waiting
been up
late.
there for
Yeah.
hours and hours. Yeah.
I'm not gonna
okay.
wake anybody, but if anybody's awake, I'm telling them what's going on.
If time has passed, yeah, I'm probably definitely asleep.
There's probably not enough time to rouse people, even if like this. I have to keep an eye on them.
If you want to be close enough to keep the eye, yeah.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I don't know if you wanted me to make a check or anything, but I do have thief skills as part of.
Yeah, that's
I'm
what I
trying
was
to
gonna
look them up.
ask is for Kermwyn and Airvalor and Ronnie, if you are attempting to follow or attempting to be undetected, you'll
I'm
need
not
to.
hiding my presence, but I will use tracking if necessary.
Okay. Yeah, I think you won't really
Do you
necessarily
want me
need
to
to
roll
track.
anything?
That's up to you, depending on what you wanted to do, Ronnie. If you
I want to be to sneak behind them, a few yards behind, 10, 20 yards, safe distance, and I wanna watch what they are doing
okay,
and
all right.
cover their backs.
Go ahead, guys, and give me if you've got the hide in shadows or move silently for those of you who are attempting that. And then if anyone has got another skill roll, let's see how successful you are in being undetected.
Could I do both? Both proficiencies. Move silently
Yeah,
and hide in shadows. Okay.
yeah, you can start however you'd like. Yep.
All right. So move silently. I don't know what happened, and then hide in shadows. And now I'm gonna go look at the pet and see how bad it was. Damn. Okay.
You weren't able to hide in the shadows. Maybe your bright clothing is just shimmering somehow from the reflection on the street, but so you,
Yeah,
you don't
my
feel
weapons.
well hidden.
Yeah.
But and Ronnie did successfully sneak at least in shadows. So your first roll I took Ronnie to be
Okay, I
success.
misclicked.
Yeah,
I misclicked.
it looked like it was right. Oh, okay, you mean the second time? Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
you're able to follow, and it reaches a point where and Kermwyn, did you have any skill or check that you're applying here? You said you were just essentially not trying to be stealth. Was
No,
there?
he's wide out in the open, and unless I lose sight of the train of them, to where I have to track. I'm just following them.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you both notice that Ronnie just turns into a black hole and is like you lose him so fast, and you think that you're moving pretty, but he just disappears to you, and so you get the sense that he's a little closer and that you didn't want to potentially risk him being seen. So you both pace yourselves, or you all pace yourselves a little differently. And when you get up to the docks, that's when you see the silhouette of what does appear to be that same elf, and he's walking towards the Osprey Herald, and there are other figures on the dock loading large crates onto the ship. They don't look like the crewmen that you saw earlier. They look like a different, they just don't seem to be moving or behaving in the same way that you would have expected the crewmen. That's what you observe as they're loading the ship. But there are some crewmen about, so it doesn't seem like the crewmen are stopping them or anything like that. That's what you guys essentially can make out in the darkness, and eventually they get the ship loaded and appear to get on the ship. And so you definitely see that as you're standing there hiding by the dock.
I'm next to Kerwin, right? I assume that we're...
Yeah, you guys were,
basically together.
I think once you
I'm-
saw how amazingly stealthy the halfling was, you were like, we'll just stick together back here a couple steps so that just in
Yeah.
case. But you,
Kerwin, I'm going to nudge you and just be like, what do you think?
I just look over my shoulder. He's got a
Books.
healthy interest in books, and
Yeah.
so do I. Why not, right? Let's see if he's looking for a hired hand. I sell my sword to the highest bidder.
He was saying something about dragons. Anyway.
Pretty good sport.
Does it seem like anybody's watching in our general direction, or there's the elf from before who was blocking the door?
it's an active dock still. It's not, it doesn't seem like the dock is died down to the point that you could walk around down the dock and not be seen from some side, because there's multiple ships that are doing similar loading and unloading, and there are people about. It's not super busy, but you're not just going to be able to walk across, unfortunately, without crossing someone's vision.
Yeah, and I mean, it's in crates anyway. I'm
You're
just
just
going to stay around and watch
trying to get
for
all
a
the
while.
information you can get. But yeah, essentially nothing much else happens that you notice out of the ordinary. You guys are able to find a position and be there long enough that nothing else really catches your attention. And I think at that point at least the halfling might be a little bit tired. The elves might be able to carry on, but you might be thinking
Yes.
that. Okay.
I'm just spied with them. I think they are over their heads, walking at this time of the night in the city. I'm just a little bit concerned of their I'll try to keep an eye on them until everybody's coming back to the inn.
That puts it on the elves. Anything else, guys?
Eventually, I guess I'll leave and go back and keep very much on the watch for being tailed or anything like that.
Yeah.
There's tons of people, right? It's not like I could...
I would say there's enough people that, yeah, if you kept your eye out for a minute to see if someone was like hot on your tail or something, you might be able to notice it. So you guys can both make a check if that's something you want to check, and I'll let you know if that in fact did happen.
Wisdom or
wisdom,
or
unless you have another skill. There are some other skills and proficiencies, I think, that
yeah,
like if
I'd
you're trying
have
to detect noise, that's just depends on how you want to phrase what you're doing.
We'll do a wisdom check.
Yeah, so you look pretty long and hard, and nothing really stands out to you that anyone saw you or is watching you at this point.
Okay.
Same with Kerwin. You notice you don't think he's been being watched either, so you're able to watch his back.
Okay. Well, I'm slipping back to the tavern then. There's nothing I think else I can do here.
It'd be
Yeah.
bold.
I wouldn't-
It would be bold.
It would be very bold.
All right, so I'll move you guys. You're going up to retire. I'll let you pick your spot in there. There's someone in this corner, this one, and this one that's not a part of your group, and then there's a man back here as well. So there's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 that aren't a part of your group. The rest are all familiar to you.
I don't see my token.
Let's see.
That's weird.
Did I lose you?
Maybe I scroll. Oh no, I just need to scroll down. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Oh. All right, everyone is gonna go to sleep here, and then going to have, let's see. So essentially, a few hours go by, everyone's resting and rested, but it gets to the point in late morning where, so essentially, a few hours go by, everyone's resting and rested, but it gets to the point in late morning where you feel like other people in and around the room have moved around, and it's going to give you guys a chance to see if you awaken to noise in the room at this point. And I think for someone that maybe has detect noise, that's a fair way to do it, or if not, you can use wisdom, however you want to do that.
I'll make a rookie mistake.
I was
Rookie mistake.
I smoothed through it to set you up for that, but
Oh no, that's yep.
yeah.
All right.
Got 1, 2. Who else?
Can't believe.
Wisdom checks, guys.
see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
unless
I'll
you've
make
got
one.
another skill you're thinking. But
Sorry.
Any thief skills that will be useful at this time?
yeah, that's a fair point. It probably wouldn't be. You have to be cognizant to use them, so I would just go with wisdom.
Okay.
So great.
Okay. No problem.
Oh, where is it?
Did only one? Is it just one fail? It looks like as far as a straight fail, but there is a okay. For those of you that succeeded, you eventually are awakened by what feels like a burning sensation on your forearms. Each of you feel it on one of your forearms, a burning sensation. And as you're feeling that and you heard something that kind of disturbed you and you awaken, you notice that 2 of the people have left the room that were in here. The dwarves are still there and sawing logs. They don't seem to be disturbed at all. And so you awaken, and it looks like only Ronnie is still not alert and wasn't awakened by it for whatever reason.
Is there anything on my arm?
As I'm right next to him, as soon as I do notice it, however long it takes me to rouse, I'm going to vigorously shake him awake.
Thank you very much.
So I think we'll just say you have some light, but what you notice, it's pitch black up here in the room, and before you even go to for a light, you pull down your sleeves and you look at your forearm and you see a marking on your forearms that looks identical to one another's, and it happens to look, let's see,
What?
I'm trying to find the under handouts. You'll see that did it appear on your screens? I didn't know if it did.
Yeah, something that says tattoo just popped up.
That's it. You basically see a faint glow of blue coming from your forearm. And as you pull your sleeve down, it's very faint, but it's definitely emanating a light. And it's got this outline around it with these 5 distinct symbols intersected vertically. And it seems like you guys notice that it's on your primary arm. I don't know who's right-handed, who's left-handed, or whatever the mix of that ends up being, but you soon realize that it's on your primary arm that this tattoo is now on you, and it shimmers a little bit when you put real light to it. We can talk more about that, but right now it's burning. It's not causing you damage, but it's a burning sensation on your arm where the tattoo is that you feel pretty constantly. It's not something that seems to be just like you burnt your hand and after a couple minutes it starts to get a little better. It's still stinging the same as it was when you first woke up.
Damn bastards.
And we'll say it's at this point it's probably right before sunrise, so there's a faint light outside, and you guys have all made this realization and shown each other and seen that each other were affected by the same thing.
Any of the symbols look familiar within the tattoo itself?
Is there
We
an
have
arcane nature to it?
so I think
Symbology?
so this would definitely be a situation where you'll need a proficiency to know more about it. I think there are some specific proficiencies for religion, heraldry, and other things. So if you guys have
Spellcraft?
something like that, you could try to make an attempt.
My instincts to ask the wizard.
I
What the
have
hell is
religion.
this?
Damn straight.
What just happened? If I try to like scratch it with like my short sword or something, just like not injuring myself, but just to see what happens if I try to like deface it.
Mhm.
Anything.
It feels like it's smooth and hard as marble on the surface. It's really smooth and really hard, and but it's just on the surface of your skin. It's like just on your skin. It doesn't feel like it goes deeper than your skin level, but it's certainly like replaced your
It's like
skin
it
in
glazes.
that
Like I can't-
section.
Like I can't cut through. Like it wouldn't. Like it resists. Is that kind of what you're saying?
True, yeah, and it's on the inside of your forearms. So yeah,
Okay.
if you were trying to puncture it or
like-
scratch at it,
Oh, okay.
then you wouldn't be able to scratch it with just a regular
Right.
weapon or
Okay.
something. Yeah.
I'm just
I did a successful spellcraft. Is there any kind of nature to that it leads me to believe it's any particular school or familiarness to any of the 5 symbols to arcane nature or any other symbology I would recognize?
The symbols themselves don't seem recognizable. I guess as far as the nature of what it is, that's also a little bit perplexing. Part of you thinks it's almost like a rune or something like that, or some marking, some magical marking, but you're not quite sure about that. You don't sense that just by looking at it, that it's any particular magic of wizardry or anything. That doesn't seem apparent. School of wizardry, I should say.
Curses in Dwarvish because it messes up.
So real quick, we're at 5 till, and I'm willing to carry on if the group wants to carry on. I figured I would put that out there if you guys are interested in going past the hour. If not, we can wrap it up on time.
I just want to make sure that I did a religion roll on this thing.
Oh, yeah, you don't, let's see, no, it doesn't seem familiar to you.
By a vampire's blood, what is this? What has happened to us this night?
Bartholomew might chime up and say resoundingly with absolute certainty that these must be the symbols of those opposing my Lady of the Mists and must be hunted down.
How do you know?
Isn't
I
it
have-
obvious? He gets a little uncomfortable when you question him and starts saying, "Isn't it obvious?" It's
I
right
have-
there on your arm.
I have nothing to do with your Lady of the Mists. I have no involvement in this. What time does the Osprey Herald leave? Like, how much time do we have?
Yeah, you got the sense that they wouldn't be moving anywhere until mid-morning at the earliest, and you're not even sure if they would be prompt to that. So it's very early morning, but at the same time, everything that's gone on in the room, the dwarves awaken. They see the 7 of you that are a little bit shocked, and they're puzzled. They look genuinely puzzled about what's going on. Do you guys say anything to them before? Because they look like they're heading out, like it's the morning to them, and they're done here. Go ahead.
Well, they heard me.
I'll say, excuse me, gentlemen. May I ask, by the way, do you have some burning sensation in your arms? Do you have something like this? Yeah,
Your arm?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they both look at it and immediately are like taken back by what they see, and they both react like it's out of the ordinary to them. It doesn't, and in particular, the larger of the two dwarfs it says, "I've never seen anything like it. It looks hard as stone." And they don't appear to be dwarven symbols. You may want to have that looked at by a sage, but I would be careful who you show that to.
Why?
Because you don't know its meaning.
Or
I would
its
trust
purpose,
nobody.
Indeed.
Trust nobody.
You don't know of anybody reliable around here who could tell us what this means?
We're headed west, friend. We don't know.
Not in the city of
Fortunately.
scoundrels. Yeah.
No. We'll see you aboard. Hopefully we'll see you all aboard, and if we see anything else out of the ordinary, we'll be sure to let you know. It's good to know that it's good to know that there'll be some people on board that might be trustworthy, but I'm a little worried now. So they head out, they leave, and I'll let you guys. Is there anything else you wanted to accomplish or discuss?
I don't have a detect magic memorized, but does anyone else?
No, that's not the spell that happened.
I don't know what my spells are. I don't
can
think
assume
I
it's
have that.
magic. But yeah.
I suspect they will let us know what our obligation to have these removed is.
Could this be something that's binding us together? Oh, we're all going to the same place now with the same marking?
Whether we like it or not, perhaps.
I suppose there's no question about whether we have any choice to get on the ship. If we want this removed, we have to know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I'd turn tail and just find the next vessel out of here.
I also suspect somebody's going to confront us and tell us what the meaning of what they have done to us is.
I'm curious.
How many times do we have until the ship departs?
If there's something that you wanted to track down in the city, I can give you guys, let's say, 1 to 2 interactions before we force the ship departure. As long as we're swift about them, I'm fine with that. If you want to
I
seek
would
out
like
some
to-
knowledge or buy something. Go ahead, Ronnie, I'm sorry.
I'm thinking, just a moment. Let me see.
Is everybody able to cover their tattoo? Nobody has it exposed. I assume that.
Yeah, and that's a
Yeah.
question for
Yeah.
you all. Yeah, is anyone
Yeah.
not covering it for any reason, or?
No, I'm covering.
Yeah, mine's
Yeah.
covered by my armor.
Okay.
Shirt sleeves.
Me too.
All right. Is there anything that you want to do after you leave the tavern, and let's say you guys, I'm going to have you all come downstairs. It's the following morning. The tavern looks completely dead, and nobody's around except the shop barkeeper there. And you guys can walk across the street, be on the ship if you want, or at least try to get on the ship, or you can run about town and take care of some other business. Again, if 1 or 2 things, if there's some things you guys decide, as this is where the collar comes into play, because you might want to trim down, everyone might want to do 6 things, and the collar might say, hey, let's just do the 1 and 2. So,
All right.
Okay. I would ask Jamie, do I know if there's a Timora temple in the city?
I'm sorry, Temple of what?
Timora. I don't know how do you say
Timora?
it.
No, that's right.
The
I just
god of luck.
I didn't catch it. Let's see.
The goddess of luck.
Yeah.
Does
No, there is not. There is not.
Bartholomew might chime up and say, perhaps if there were a temple or of Lady Lyra, or if not, a temple of Tyr in the city, perhaps we could seek them out for guidance in this matter.
we could, We were warned not to trust anyone in this city, which comports with what I've seen here, but does anybody else, okay, as a caller, does anybody else want to go to a temple? Like,
Yes, I do.
what's the level of interest in it?
I honestly
Yeah, I'm
don't
very
trust
interested. I'm
anyone
a
in the city.
flabbergasted. I don't like this kind
seem-
of thing in my arm. I'm very preoccupied. I'm thinking about going home. I need. I will take. I will instinctively take my trust to the elves.
Okay.
They are wise. They are old. They must know what to do.
Does anybody else, besides the temple, does anybody else have any ideas about what we should do besides going to a temple or seeking religious, guidance?
Thinking we should just introduce ourselves to that gang of ruffians on our boat and see if they're the ones that caused this.
I think there will be time for that, right? Because we're.
So
But does anybody else think that's want to do that? Head in the direction of the boat. Is this what a caller does? I don't know.
yeah, you're doing it right, and
Okay.
I think
Yes, you're doing right.
it boils down to if there is one important thing that you want to get done, and if it is going to a temple, you guys don't know what temples are here, so you would really need to also find that out so that you could make that decision, and that's so if that is the direction you want to go, that would be the starting point, is figuring out which temples are here and finding out who you want to go to for that advice.
It seemed like the party was mostly interested in that. Are there last
Yeah.
call for objections? Okay, then
Okay.
so say we all let's.
All right. So
Um,
the bartender is in here. If you wanted to talk to him, you could go out on the street and find merchants or find more of a random person if you don't want the bartender to know, because bartenders happen to know a lot, but they also tend to, maybe talk a
We
little
spread
lot.
the word a lot.
have loose lips.
So yeah,
Well,
it's your call.
We're not gonna be here long. Yeah, there's risk in talking to the bartender, but
Okay.
You could also phrase it as a simple question.
yes,
We're off on a
we're-
boat.
we're
We'd
about
like to
yes,
make some prayers before we go. Blah,
exactly.
blah. What temples are in town?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's good.
I can phrase it right that way to the bartender now.
Yeah, tell
Yeah.
me what
Very good, very
who
good.
who would make this, who will step to the bartender and go ahead and tell us what
I'll
you
do
would
it.
say.
We're traveling out by boat this morning, and we'd like to make a few prayers before we go, so we don't meet pirates or other mishaps. And several of us, what kind of temples are in the town?
Oh, wow. I think that's a good move. That may help you with rough waters ahead. Boy, I think the closest one would be the Temple of the Morning Lord, Lathander. That is
Oh, that's a good one.
that is nearby. I know many travelers seek his aid. Perhaps that will work for your ideals.
Sure. What else is farther afield?
So there is also, as far as he knows, there is a House of Gond as well. If you're familiar with Gond or not, that's maybe a question for your character's background, but Gond is another.
I'll take the name and we'll pass it to the party.
Any followers of Gond in the group or anyone with a religion skill check? If we had well, I won't say that.
I have a religion skill check if you want me to roll
Oh.
it again.
Yes, sir. That would be good. Or ma'am.
I also have history, local history. Oh, I just squeaked in there.
Yeah. So you know that Gond is the god of crafting and inventiveness. So he is, I think, I want to say you would know on the spectrum that he's not an evil god. I will say it that way. He is not an evil god.
I won't mention this in the bar, but when we get out, I probably would.
Okay.
I probably will ask if I can get some more of that good smoke that he had for the road.
Of course, sir. Of course. And there are some rations available if you'd like to take them on your trip. And you notice he has some baskets sitting out on the table with breads and things that he tries to sell to travelers as they leave. And he makes a little pouch for you. And
I certainly will
Stitches it up.
purchase what he can give me right now for however much he wants.
We'll do again we'll do the rations based off the player's handbook cost, so you can buy them in week long amounts. So anyone who wants to do that can do that here. I don't
Does
have the
anybody
number.
not have a week's worth of food? I'm sorry, does anybody not have a week's worth of food
I have
for the
two.
trip?
I have 2 weeks.
Yeah, I've got 2 weeks as well.
So we don't need food.
We're good, I
Yeah,
think.
they're 10.
I bought some in the city, so I'll buy this one though.
Yeah, they're 10 gold for a week of dry
Ooh.
rations. It's 10 gold.
Okay.
You might look for another couple days worth of grain for the pony, just unless that was part of the fee for boarding. Are they gonna
No,
I
take
don't
care
think
of?
so.
I would say you have to cover the travel, at least the cost of it. So as long as you pay them for the cost of it, you don't have to acquire it and bring it onto the ship. Let's say.
Okay. Yeah, because I think I had 4 days worth of grain. So if
Yeah.
the cost of that, the Kirwin help.
For a second.
Yeah, it cut out for just a second. We missed the last thing he said, Adam.
Oh, so no, if the gold we paid to get the livestock on board covered feeding them too, I should be good.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that you guys are covered on that, and if again, I think that the only thing that he was getting at is if they caused problems, that you would have to pay more money, so you won't have to acquire and bring any other grain with you.
If your pony breaks the stall, we have to pay for it.
Yeah, and there will be a chance of that, right? It's on a boat, so it's not necessarily feeling at ease, so we'll figure that out. But anything else that anyone wants to either ask the barkeep or discuss with one another?
I will. While I'm buying some food and getting some of that smoky pipeweed stuff, I'll mention him. Did you see what time those two that were upstairs when we got there had left? Or maybe know something where they went? As casually as a druid who has no real experience of ulterior motives, it's just blunt and out.
Yeah, I think that he looks at you perplexed. No, I don't know when they left.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir. I'm packing up the rest of my stuff and getting ready to get going.
All right, so you guys head outside, and we'll put you back in the Westgate map for just a quick minute here and figure out where you're wanting to go. So have you guys decided what direction or what it was, and you're actually over here right now?
So I'll relay my information on the House of Gon that he is a god of invention and of crafting.
Okay.
What about Lathander?
I'm at a loss. I'm so sorry.
You know that Lathander. Oh, actually, no, you failed that check, didn't you? Oh, no, you did it. Oh, you did it, right? Yeah. So you know that also Lathander is obviously not evil either, but it's actually a good god as far as what's Morning Lord, which is the god of spring and new beginnings.
I'll defer to Bartholomew as the religious expert.
Bartholomew's he's really not well versed in Lathander or
Oh, you're a druid. That's right.
gotcha. He knows somewhat of the god Tyr as well as his Lady of the Mist, Lyra, and
I'll pass that on about the Morning Lord is the god of spring and a new beginning, and perhaps we could visit them both if they're not far away. If nothing else, for gathering some information on this, what happened to us.
I think you'll run out of time, so you'll have to pick one or the other, or if you're gonna do something different, that we gotta try to limit it to one.
Let's
The
pick the
farther
closest
one was gone, right?
I say we go to the closest one.
Yeah, let's go to the closest one, unless anybody objects.
Fine.
I was just saying whichever one will standard because it's the god of beginnings.
This is the beginning of an epic journey. Sure.
Good
Yeah.
Mm.
Let's go there.
Yeah, it was the bartender's recommendation too for traveling. You would probably, after he took care of you pretty well, you'd probably trust him on not
Of
sending
course,
you
she's a
too long.
trustworthy barkeep.
But
We
yeah,
got
so
free tattoos with our room.
oh yeah,
mean-
there you go. That's true. You didn't say anything or show them to him, but you asked about the pair who had left and he didn't see them. So you guys head down the road and find the temple of Lathander just as he had described. It's there. You approach front of it. I don't have the heraldry to show you, but it's a sun image that they use that's emboldened on the front in several different banners, red with gold. And when you get to the temple, it appears to be the front door is actually open. And at least inside, it looks like there are some people within. So you enter the temple, and at that point, you do see a few people about who are wearing the robes that match the banner out front. And a man approaches you and nods to your group and says, "Have you come for a blessing for your trip?"
Maybe some information.
Hmm. And who are you, friend?
Introduced himself. Kermwin Leafstrider, sellsword. But me and my friends woke this morning with a strange tattoo,
We're-
and he lifts the sleeve on his coat.
Ooh, can I try to interject or grab your arm or something before you do that? I'm going to try. I'm going to try.
I'll tell you what, you guys are gonna
Okay.
roll off for this. You're gonna roll off,
Okay.
so go ahead and both roll d20. The higher one will get the result that they asked for. So if you beat him, then you can stop him from showing it and interject.
There you go.
Sorry, don't mean to be a jerk. I just
That's
No,
no,
you
that's
be a little bit more discreet. Okay.
it's the same thing. So now I'm gonna check and see if he detected the tattoo or not, and I'll just give him
Oh,
I'll give
God.
him a 50% chance. So we'll
Oh
just
my God, that's awesome.
Yeah, so he sees it. He sees something on your arm. He noticed as you started to pull your sleeve up and then you tried to stop it, he ended up seeing at least the top part of the symbol and definitely
Oh.
seems to raise his eyebrows as he looks at you and sees the two of you fumbling with the sleeve.
Okay. Can I meet his eyes as soon as I see him and be like, is there somewhere discreet that we could meet? Maybe get some personal guidance from your god.
I think
Really?
we might be able to. Follow me,
Thank you.
all 7 of you. And so he pulls you back to the back corner of the temple into a little raised area that's got a half wall and there's a bench and he brings you up there and he sits down and says, "What is it that troubles you and what is it that you're here for? It's not just travel."
Mm.
I'll show him.
You've
we
already,
know.
I'd say Kermwin is the one he assumes is the one you're here for to treat him for
Oh,
something. He's
yeah,
focused on what Kermwin's gonna say.
Sure.
He raises it and he goes, I just woke up with this tattoo. He flips his arm over and goes, they didn't fill out the one I had, but they give me a new one. And everyone can see the unfinished tattoo on the front side of his right arm of some sort of wild hunting cat. But it's just the outline of it. It's not finished.
Okay. So he looks, as you peel back, he only saw a tenth of it. And now that you peel this whole piece back, and again, you're exposing this 8-inch tattoo on your forearm, his face changes demeanor from cool and collected clergyman to a little bit of shock and surprise. And he has a tough time disguising his surprise as he looks at your arm and seems to be just in wonderment of what he's looking at. He looks as if, as he's thinking it through, that he's not that familiar with it. And eventually he leans back and he says, "I fear you've been cursed, friends, or friend, but I know not what this means. I would need an elder to review this, but unfortunately, I don't know that I can get you one right now who would be able to recognize this. It's certainly nothing religious that I would recognize, and so I'm not sure of its origin.
But we are a bit short of time, friend. If you could muscle an elder, that would be amazing. And he starts rustling coins.
Oh, me too. I will also like
Oh.
shake my.
Make
That's
a
a big donation. Big
small
donation.
donation.
A little
Yeah.
donation here. He like wraps your arm up, and he says, "I wouldn't not show this to anyone else if I were you." And he
Ooh.
walks away, and he goes off and comes back with an older man who is dressed in similar garb, but looks as if he is really frail. And so he comes up and is carrying a small book with him, and he gets closer to you, and the first priest that you saw points to your arm and nods to you to show it to him. And you show him the tattoo again, and he begins to cast a spell. Does anybody have spell crafting?
Spellcasting, yeah.
He said, and I think actually he would ask for your permission because
Oh,
they're
yeah, you
yeah.
can do.
Okay. So they would want you to be okay with it, and but so if anyone wants to attempt the spellcraft, they are casting a spell, or the older man casts a spell on Kermwin, and after a few moments of him chanting and doing some movement with his hands,
Yes.
right? So you can tell that he did a detect magic
Mhm.
spell on it, and once you believe at the point of the spell where he would know, he looks very confused and he utters, "It is not." And both of the priests of Lathander look at each other with some concern and some kind of raised. When did this happen? Where did this come from?
I woke up with it a few hours ago. My forearm was burning, and there it was.
I fear that we do not have the means to remove this curse from you here, friend.
Was it not magical?
It is not
Can-
magical. They tell you that it was not magical.
I'll ask the elder because we haven't asked him yet. Do you recognize any of these symbols? Any of the parts of the tattoo? What they might mean?
I believe that these are symbols of Thay from the
Thay.
land of Thay.
It's
That is his assessment of the symbols. He believes that they may be from the kingdom of Thay, but he's not
someone spit again.
totally proficient in what they mean and what they're associated with, but that's
Okay.
his best thought right now. And he said, I would need to research the matter and consult with my colleagues, of course, to really figure this out, but it seems from a faraway place.
I thank the priests for their time, and after I let them bind my arm again and pull my sleeve back down, Kerwin drops 20 gold as a donation to the church.
The elder will grab your arm as you make the donation. He reaches and grabs your arm that's affected, and he says, no amount of gold will remove this curse from you. But
I know.
At
But
this
it's for your
point,
time.
I'm crying.
and at this point too,
On my knees
if he
crying.
noticed that, they wouldn't assume that you were all affected by it, but obviously, like right now, it's about him only, but they see that you're all there and all hyper interested in it, and that you're all
No.
like worried about
My
him.
new life has just begun, and I'm already cursed. I'm on my knees crying like a baby.
They would console you and say that the morning Lord will bring you hope and a new beginning, and you should trust him. Continue your journey and push forward, and Lathander will be by your side for these next several days. We shall bless you.
Kerwin again tells them that he appreciates the help, and his divine nature can't help me with this problem. I guess my 3 feet of steel will have to do the job.
Hmm.
He makes the donation anyway and thanks them for their time.
Safe travels, friends. Safe travels. Okay.
Thank you.
So at this point, it's getting to be mid-morning to when you believe you needed to be dockside. So you start heading that way. as you're heading down the road, you do notice that it seems like there's fewer people out today for whatever reason, and you notice a pair of figures who seem like they watched you exit the temple, and they're really not making much of an effort to not eyeball you as you're walking with some haste towards the dock. So it looks to figures who again look like they're wanting you to notice that they're watching you, kind of thing, and just following you at this point as you're heading towards the dock. They don't do anything or get closer. Again, you just feel that sense that there's something else about you that they're interested in. You guys get to
Eye
the dock.
contact.
Yeah,
If
I
you
don't
can't
think
at
you would
any
have
point.
much of an opportunity to do anything with them because they're not really wanting to confront you, but they are, again, making it really obvious that they're watching you.
Do they appear to be the same two that were in the sleeping quarter last night?
No.
Not that we got a good
No.
look at them.
No, you don't, you definitely know that one of them couldn't be because it was a person that had lighter hair, and neither of these guys do.
Got it.
Yeah.
Are they similar to the two that were following me?
Who asked that?
Kurza.
Kurza? Yes. Yeah, you recognize these guys. You'd seen them before, watching you from random places as you were moving around Westgate. Yeah, you do recognize them.
Still haven't figured out why they're following me, so.
So we'll get you to the ship and pull the group down. Let's see. We're on board. We are going to level 1. So you guys come onto the top deck of the ship to board, and your screen should change here in a second. As you're loading on from the dock onto the ship, you notice some crewmen. You hadn't seen them before, but there's a couple crewmen on the top deck. Can you guys see this?
Maybe.
It's all black.
Is it all
Yes.
black? I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I just wanted to, double check
Do our
that.
tokens have vision?
No, they don't, because I didn't drop you here.
Wow.
That's where we're at. Let me fix this. I left you all in the tavern. Here we go.
A lighting problem?
No, it's just the tokens. I didn't bring the tokens with you. So I'm just going to give you a view of each of the decks. You should have some vision now. So you load onto this top deck, and this is where you're seeing some of the crewmen moving around and making some final preparations. It looks like as if the ship is maybe on schedule after all, and things are moving in that direction, but nobody's putting out a call yet that they're ready to pull out right away. You do see Winnick, the man who took your coin, up there, and as he spots you, he comes to the top of the stairway and he hollers down and calls to Makra, who is this assistant here, deckhand, and Makra nods at Winnick, turns around to you all and says, "You must be the passengers heading west that Winnick told me about. Follow me down to your quarters." And he leads you down, and we'll go down to the next level. As you're stepping down through this next level, and I'll give you a view in a second. 3. You see basically a floor as you're passing through this floor around on the deck on this level, a lot of other crewmen and area for the crewmen to sleep. In this sort of area as you're passing down, that there's a bunch of crewmen here who appear to be in the midst of a little bit of gambling. They're rolling some dice and chuckling and joking about as other crewmen are going and doing things. So that kind of is noticeable to you, that they're just like having a good time and rolling dice on the top of a barrel and gambling as you pass by. He brings you then down to the next level, which is your quarters. Let's see. I'm sorry, this is not your quarters yet. You pass through this level. Again, you get a sense that there's multiple rooms on this level as you pass through it, and you just see a couple of people here doing more preparing, but that's really all you catch during the moments that you pass through the level.
Does it look like there's cargo in the I'm sorry.
Yeah,
we're
it
passing through.
does. It does. You're right. You can observe that. Like you can look around and see some crates about for sure. Some
Okay.
barrels and crates on each of the levels. It seems like there was some spots for cargo. So this ship seems like it's got maybe more of a cargo business going than a passenger business, but it does have both.
Is it? But sorry, I meant the mid deck. But is there a particular deck that seems to be more like a cargo hold or someplace where they store it, or is it
Yeah,
everywhere?
I would say that this deck had more of the equipment on
Okay.
it, it seemed like equipment storage and things like that. And the deck above you, the third level deck, seemed like it had more of the general cargo that you weren't sure
Mhm.
what it was or intended for.
Okay.
So can you guys see this one too?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So you arrive at the bottom level of the ship, and the Makra brings you down to the bottom of the steps and says, "Here it is, home sweet home for the next week. There's hammocks hanging between the rafters here. Make yourselves at home. You can sleep on the damn floor. You can sleep on the pile of ropes, but just don't mess with anything. And Winnick will be down eventually. He'll probably check on you. But there are others. You'll have to pick these spots essentially. You can shuffle these spots if you want, but these other spots are taken. You can arrange yourselves or claim a place if you'd like for your bed area, but this is where the passenger level.
Yeah, I'll go claim my bunk and stow my stuff in my rack.
Yeah, you notice a couple of the people here in the back of the ship who are also settled in. A couple of them are in hammocks. I'll take you to a different picture so you can get an idea of what this looks like. I think this one kind of shows you a little bit of what it would be like. You're hanging between posts, there's barrels around and some storage things and random stuff. You're in the very bottom of the ship, so it gets a lot of tilt because you're probably barely at or just above the level of the water. It's got some dim lighting. On the far side behind you, from this perspective, is where the rest are configured. And so you guys can again figure out what you want to do. It's morning and it's really more about just getting you acquainted to where your quarters are, but you're welcome to do anything here you'd like, or at this point um, do other exploring. So I'll move you back to the ship.
I want to quickly apologize to Kerwin for grabbing his arm. Sorry about that, sir. I just
He
couldn't
thinks nothing
have it
of
be seen in public.
My character's kind of interested in Kurz's book reading. If she finds a moment where he's alone and reading, she might, I don't know, try not to appear like she has no idea what the fuck he's doing because she doesn't read or never really even learned any of this stuff, but try to gain a little knowledge from him somehow over the next 7 days. I don't know if you're just hand waving 7 days or we're going on,
No,
but
we're on day one, and I'm just
oh
giving you guys
god,
an opportunity to determine if there's anything you'd like to do here on the bottom level. Essentially, the ship leaves the dock. You guys are getting settled in. You start to get turned to the west. You feel the sails and the mast being turned to pull you, and you start to pick up a little bit of speed in the ship as you pull out of Westgate. And so you guys see behind you Westgate getting further away, and you start to see in front of you the Sea of Fallen Stars, or the Inner Sea, and you are headed out to sea. And at this point, you're in calm water. You are in calm water when you're in the vicinity of Westgate. And then as we get out, we'll have one of you roll to see what the conditions are like each day and if it has any effect on your speed, which will really
sure.
determine how long the trip takes. So,
We're actually heading east, though, rather than
or I'm
west,
sorry,
right?
I keep saying that. Yeah, because of Westgate. I keep saying that because of Westgate. You're right, it's east. Yeah. So you're heading east, and the boat has taken off, and so you have time to mill about the boat. You can talk to people. You can do other things to prepare if you're worried about something, or again, just a opportunity for you guys to figure out if there's anything else you want to accomplish within this day before we make a dice roll to see how much sailing you were able to get done.
Yeah, I would ask Kurza, what I'm sorry, but what book is that? What are you reading?
Oh, I don't really have any books other than my spell book.
Spells. Oh. And with that, I'll look like I know what I'm talking about and go do something else for a little while.
Confuses the druid. Yeah.
Yeah. It wouldn't take a lot.
I was just gonna. I would suggest that maybe the stealthiest among us try to maybe see what's in a crate or one of the. I don't know. Check out the cargo somehow. Try to be what. Maybe that's a terrible idea, but maybe some snooping around because we know that contraband is on this ship, right? So.
Yeah.
Now, since they didn't really discuss with the rest of us what was the other guys who went out to the Osprey Herald and got on board last night, I suppose the rest of us will suddenly recognize a few faces from the previous night. Correct?
So are you walking around? So far as you came down, you saw crew members.
I mean, like the people who went out to the boat last night.
Oh, you're asking, did you see any of
I
them?
was asleep during that, so my character would not be aware that they would be here. Have we seen any of them that would start our discussion to, oh, they're here? That's all I wanted to
while
know.
we're walking around, like we that were out last night, have we seen anybody? Is basically what you're asking?
Yeah.
So far as when you got on the top deck, you recognized Winnick. You didn't recognize anyone else on the top deck. The second,
Not the elf, the two people who were sitting near the table of us, we didn't see them.
and then
I'm
as you went down a
blissfully
level,
unaware.
yeah, when you went down a level, you saw more crewmates down on that second level, and then where you're at now, you haven't really locked eyes with anyone that looked familiar.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just was going back up on the other levels to see and make sure because it was a good question.
In my limited experience, I think the guys we saw last night were the smugglers. They just board the cargo, and these guys are just the ones that are taking the goods to the other port, and the other smugglers there will disembark the goods and take them to their destiny, to their final location. These guys, I think, in the ship right now are just the ones taking from one port to another. They don't even need to know what they are taking, carrying, etc.
If that's the case, then it should be easy to find out what this is that they're sneaking around.
I think so. One of these nights, I think it's better not right now because you just board the ship. Somewhere in the middle of the journey, in the black of the night, the dark of the night, I think I can
check
it out.
Let's have somebody who's not doing one of the other roles do our sailing condition roll. If you go to the rollable tables, you guys can decide who wants to do the roll. Just want to give everybody a chance to do something if you haven't done something, and maybe see what our conditions are for this particular day as you guys are getting settled in.
Yeah, if somebody else wants to roll, Bartholomew might just be checking on the livestock we had loaded on, making sure his pony Maya is packed away.
Some of the folks that are new at Roll20, it's a good chance to get some rolls in.
Yeah, if there's anyone who wants to.
Sure, I'll do the sailing condition roll if you want.
Okay. So yeah, you are able to cover some decent ground close to the average, but maybe a little below average just from choppy water. Throughout this day, essentially, you guys will have a chance to check in on things. Those of you who have animals in the stable, you're able to visit that and see and verify that the livestock is safe and been treated well and is not in any harm's way. So you're able to accomplish that today, and you guys can move around to other levels as a group or something like that if there's anything else you'd like to fit into the day before we go to the evening where it sounds like you have a plan you want to execute.
Kerwin just spends the day looking for any of that group that he saw leave the tavern.
Okay.
I'll stay up on the top deck just to get some daylight and watch the water and the men working.
I'm gonna write. Just stay in the bottom hold and be scribbling away.
I'm gonna stay.
I'll
Go ahead,
Because-
Hamden. Sorry, I missed you.
I'm gonna stay below deck. I don't like water.
So
So
down.
I stay below deck too.
Yeah.
Who Beijing is staying below deck too? Is that what I heard?
Yes,
It's a lot of voices. All right, and I missed.
I guess
someone else.
Cruz is the only one up on deck.
Okay. Ronnie, anything that you're trying to do before the evening routine we will get into?
I will keep the elves company. I like them. They seem wise. I'm out of my element here, so I'll keep people around. I'm feeling a little at risk.
Okay. Essentially, we got a couple of little things going on. First, for Kermwin, you start wandering around the ship a little bit, and you do notice when you get to the third level, and you try to walk down a couple of the walkways, that there are some figures that are standing there that are watching you and preventing you from going all the way down towards the end. And one of them, you recognize one of them as being the one of the ones who was sitting in the tavern last night. So you do make a confirmation that there's at least one of them on board, and that there's a part of the deck on the third level that it seems like they are guarding. You're able to do that, and Kurz is the deck of the ship. And as you're there on the deck, you notice a lot of strange movement in the waves around the ship, and it takes you a little bit to realize, but you notice that it seems like there are some sharks, and that they are swimming in a pattern and seem to be following off of one of the sides of the ship. What you notice over time is that the crew doesn't seem to be bothered by it, and they notice it too. So it seems like it's normal to them that these sharks are following the side of this ship, and it seems like they, for whatever reason, are focused on one of the sides of the ship. They're not menacing or doing anything aggressive to the ship, but you just notice over time that they're there.
I'll ask one of the crew members about it, if I can.
Yeah, you can. So one of the deckhands is there, and you ask him, how would you phrase your question?
We've got those look like sharks out there. Why are they following us? We're not dropping food behind us or anything. Or are we scaring up schools of fish before us or something? You guys don't seem alarmed by that.
No, that's good luck. That's good luck. Captain Winnick, or Coordinator Winnick, says that's good luck.
No.
Yeah, that's been, ever since I've been aboard, that's been pretty normal. They won't harm you. They can't get on board.
Yeah. Okay. Just curious.
Yeah, we all like them. They're
Haven't been on too many boats, but
As long as you are inside the ship, you gotta like them.
yeah.
So for those of you who were staying below deck, anything else, or was there anything I missed that others wanted to do? I know our dwarf is doing his best to maintain his constitution at this point, and there are choppy waters, so we will give you guys each constitution roll to see those of you who stayed below deck, not Kurza, because when your eyes are on the horizon, you tend not to get sick. So I'm just going to apply this to those that stayed below.
Yeah.
All right.
Very good.
Should always have a character sheet up. Oh, sorry. 1 second. You got lucky.
We'll have more of the character sheet intensity down the road. So this is more, hopefully, just learning the
Yeah.
way.
I should just have it. I should just have it ready. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
Cool.
Have yours as a
Okay,
pop out
so-
window.
Looks like you all have passed. Nobody is feeling ill at this point from those of you that remained under deck. I will say that there are in the bottom the two dwarfs that you recognize that are here, and one of those dwarfs appears to be ill from the rocking of the ship, and so he just is moaning from over in his corner, not feeling well, and that's the extent of what you're hearing. There's not a lot of conversation or anything, just people moving around like you are and storing and stowing their equipment near their bedding areas. So, all right. Any thing else before we move into the night phase? I'll say it seems like everybody got a chance to do something. So it turns to night, and I'll let you guys talk through what it is you wanted to accomplish here. Now that it's dark, you do hear, as it gets to dusk, you suddenly start to hear the noise of the gambling and the dice rolling up above you and laughing and carrying on. And so it ends up being essentially like having paper thin wall where everything even almost amplifies in the bottom of the ship. You can hear the chatter and the laughter from the bottom. And so that's your cue that you know that the crew is doing some leisure time, and it's dark outside. And so I'll let you guys take it from here.
Okay. Do you want us to remove one ration of food for the day, or
Yeah, I think
do we
I think you can do that
eat before we
now.
got here?
Like whenever we go into, that's a great question. Like when you guys sleep each night, just put that when we say that when you're gonna sleep overnight, go ahead and just mark one off. So
All right.
if you didn't mark one off for the sleep last night, you wouldn't because you bought a meal, but tonight because you're on the boat, you will. So
Got it. This is the joy of being the human. That I just curl up in my bunk and sleep.
I did
So
mention
I could just see though,
when
Ronnie
we're all
might
together.
right now. You all might see Ronnie just scheming a little bit and getting a little antsy.
I can help. I'm somewhat stealthy.
Yeah,
So
I can use a lookout.
yeah, that's great. Or worst case scenario, a distraction in case you need to make a getaway or
Yeah,
something.
wingman.
So
Directions.
if we're on mid deck is where we think most of the cargo is, right? Or where we thought we saw like a lot of the general
third level. Yeah.
and that's also where the gambling is, kind of in the front.
Let's see. No, I think that's the one above you.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. It's on the same level as where that other cargo was.
Let's take a walk.
Can we
Okay.
see a map of it? Because I'm seeing the bottom deck.
Yeah.
that-
Who's going up though? I guess is why I haven't really moved it because I wanted to figure
Oh,
out.
sorry.
I'm going.
I'll go up and I'll pretend that I'm gambling at
Anyone
first.
else gonna head up with these two?
I assume.
I'll
Yeah.
go up
Roger,
there.
I mean,
Cruiser will go to the second deck and just observe.
Yeah.
So this is the crew
As
deck.
long
So,
as it's not too, if it's not too late, Bartholomew will follow them as well.
all right. So I think it's just Beijing that's not there. Is that right? Or anyone else that's not there?
I'll be sleeping by the
Okay.
time that they're doing their thing.
Gotcha. All right.
actually, on our way up or before, I want to say to whoever's coming up, if Ronnie is in trouble, if somebody notices something bad, somebody punch me, start a fight,
Or
do whatever.
fire.
Yeah, do whatever you need to do. Accuse me of cheating. Let's gamble or something, and
All right.
Good
So
idea.
somebody has a better plan.
so you guys get there, and as you step onto the level, the crew is just laughing after a recent dice roll, and they make eye contact with you as you come to the level, and they say, "Oh, we got new money. Any lucky rollers amongst the bunch?" And they've got a pair of dice, and they're playing a dice game, and they propose to you whether or not you'd like to join the game, and they'll explain the game to you if you are interested. Anyone interested in gambling?
I mean,
Cruiser.
If you go into the handouts for anyone that does want to know the games that they're playing, there's two different games that they're playing with dice, and you can engage in any one of these games with your own money if you'd like, and either benefit from the outcome or pay the price. These are the two games that they're playing. One is called Ship of Fools, It's a 2d6. I didn't write that in here, but it's a 2d6 roll. And so essentially, if you throw a 2, 3, 4, 10, 11, or 12, you lose. Or I'm sorry, you win. And if you roll a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, you lose. So it's not quite a coin flip, but you get the idea. And then there's a second game that's explained in that handout. So if anyone's interested in playing the game, essentially what you'll do is just make a wager on whether you'll win or lose. And if whatever you risk, you will win. And whatever you risk, if you lose, will be gone. So
I'm going to look around to see if anybody wants to join me at the table. My idea is basically we gamble, and if something goes while Ronnie looks around, and if something goes wrong, then we can, fake an argument, a gambling. It's easy to start that. So
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to join me in that front, then
where's the crates and the stuff that they said as storage here?
yeah, they're in the back center is where you've seen those other kind of boxes and crates sitting around that don't look like general supplies to you. They look like the things that the people drug out of the tavern. They look similar to the containers that they were carrying out of the tavern when you guys were staking them out.
Okay. Okay. I will.
So you guys
stroll.
Go ahead.
Just matter of factly, very aloof. I will walk by and take my chance when I think no one is looking. I will rummage to the things and maybe take a peek inside of the crates.
Perfect. Okay, go ahead and do a hide in shadows and a move silently for your sneaking around. Can you show me move your character along the path that you're going to be taking as you head back towards that direction?
What do you want first, the rolls or the path?
The roll. Yeah, roll.
The roll.
So you attempted to hide in some shadows and failed to do that.
There's not enough shadows.
Yeah, it's maybe a little bright here on this level with as many people that came down. Maybe they brought some lanterns and things, and it's a little brighter than you had hoped. But you could still attempt to kind of tiptoe if you want to kind of get closer, or again, if you want to show me the direction you're heading, I can tell you what some of your options might be.
Here. It's less crowded here. You said that there are crates. Yeah.
Yeah, so
the crates are bigger than me.
So you got them, yeah, so you get the move silently and you end up very softly with your bare halfling feet step down across the planks around this corner. You do see a dwarf leaning here against what's a couple of hammocks that are set up, and it looks like around that area where these hammocks are set up that there's a bunch of crates, and the crates again look like the type of crates that you saw them carrying out. They're of course closed, but as you're standing there, you notice the elf that was in the room is back there, and he doesn't notice you right now, but you see him pick up one of the crates and walk towards the back of the ship and go through a door at the back of the ship with one of the crates. So as you're standing there observing them, you notice that, and you definitely recognized him. You definitely recognized that he was the one sitting beside you in the tavern, and he did not see you.
He's the one who kept tabs on us.
Yep.
Okay.
And these guys over here that are gambling, does anyone want to take a risk with a die roll and lay something on the table? Or?
Oh yeah, I'll be boisterous about it. Like, here to clean you out, fellas, shaking my gold bag around.
Okay.
I'll join in.
So go ahead and do the 2d6 game is probably the easiest, and then just declare how much you want to wager. As long as it's a gold or better, they're interested in gambling.
I'll start with 3 gold. Is somebody else joining me so that just in case?
Yeah.
Maybe this is a real dumb plan.
In with you, and he'll add at least a gold to your wager.
Oh,
yeah, there you go.
Kind of
Topping off the wager is a good move.
all right.
Well,
So it's 4
encourage
gold.
you on and pull in
So I
the
think you did
blessings of the lady.
you did 3d.
Oh, I did 3d6. Sorry, I don't know why I did that.
Sorry, we'll give you another roll. Go ahead and do it.
If you win any of my money, you have to give it back. That's the. All right, so that is. What does that mean?
You rolled a 6, and I
Six.
think it's
I lose.
yeah, you lose your 4 gold. They
Ooh.
chuckle and another victim of the ship of fools.
We've only just started.
This
Okay.
is obviously a test from the lady. We must be vigilant and stalwart.
What he said.
Go ahead
I'll
and
chuck in 2 more. I'll chuck in 2 more gold if Ervanor wants to try once more.
Sure, yeah, I'll raise a gold 3.
all right. Go ahead and roll again. Anyone else on this level that wants to risk it? We can.
Is it
give you a
just me
chance to-
rolling? Is
Well,
Brandon?
you're the first one to step
Yeah.
forward and
I see.
risk.
I see.
So if anyone
It's
else
I.
wants to risk,
I get it. I get it.
I'm cheering you on and chucking some gold at
he's
you.
he's
so.
just topping off your bet, which is
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. You
Well, that's
you lose
good.
again.
We're
So
making a. Okay. I have to keep track of this in my head. Okay, 7 gold so far. Oh boy.
The
All
la-
right.
they're loving
lady is-
this. They're like encouraging you to get your money back at this point. You can get
The
your money
lady's
back.
playing tricks
Just
on
double
us
your bet.
tonight.
If you just double your bet, you'll get
That's
back
it.
what you lost.
I'll pound my fists down. I'm acting.
Yeah. So
That's it. All
So-
right.
So how about you do a charisma roll to
Mhm.
see if they sense that you're being awkward or anything that's like
I'm totally objectively, but yeah,
yeah.
in character.
While they're all gambling there, I'm going to watch the crowd and watch the people in the back of the boat to see if anybody is more interested or wants to be closer to the action,
Mhm.
that sort of thing.
Yeah, you don't see anyone like eyeballing it right now. You did see Ronnie slip away, so you know he's somewhere back in the depths of the boat.
Yeah, some of the guys in the back of the boat might want to play, and they might be more interested in looking forward than they are in whatever it is they're doing or guarding.
Yeah.
So I want to see who those might be.
So I think probably one of the things that you would have observed by now is that there is one female pirate
Mhm.
on the ship, and she seems to have some command and control, which seems unusual to you. She seems to be in charge to an extent. She's overwatching the game, not really playing in the game, but she's encouraging the game. So she seems to be connected to the command on the ship. So you do notice her, and that seems of interest. There is a dwarf that's on this level that was from the tavern, and so he's just watching. He's watching the gambling. He's not willing to risk his coin right now, and his friend is sick, so he's just sitting here trying to stay entertained until he hits the.
So
hand.
these are the two that were at the other table.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's a familiar face to you, and he's the one that you guys talked to in the morning. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep. So
You said the guy picked up a crate and went to the back of the ship. He
Yeah.
disappeared
yeah,
back here.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
doors here.
Yeah, so if you're moving in that direction and you're going that far, you'll probably want to do another check to see if you're sneaky enough.
Okay.
So go ahead and
Let's pray.
let's see how sneaky. And yeah, we're
I'm more of favors the bold.
we're gonna just close this down here in 5 minutes. So I know everybody is sticking it out, and I really appreciate it. This is perfect, to be honest with you. You start creeping around, heading back in that direction where you're
Yes, I creep it.
and you get noticed right away by one of the men that's standing here, and he reaches down and he grabs you by the back of your robe, your cloak, and he says, "We've
Okay.
got one here. We've got one here, Kadison." And suddenly a couple of these people who were sitting around not noticing you all turn in your direction. And even it's loud enough at this point that those of you who are gambling, you've heard some voices and some shouting from the back of the level. And so I'll give you guys an opportunity if you want to react to that for those of you that are not Ronnie at the moment.
From where I am, can I see them grabbing him?
Let's see, you're there. I think you would have been obstructed. You don't know that they grabbed him, but you've heard the raised voices. You've heard some sudden movement. You can assume something's maybe not just right, but you didn't see necessarily the fact that they reached and grabbed him because there's a lot of cargo in your way between your sight line and him. And he's very short.
I'll look back the aisleway and see if I can see Ronnie. Curza.
What are the gamblers doing, like, at the front? Do they hear anything?
They stop for a moment and lean, like they're looking down the way at what's going on, and they turn to one another and say, I wouldn't be messing with the very important people. And they just keep getting back to their game like they're not really too worried about it.
Yeah, I think I would. And I'm just going to bolt back, I think.
Okay.
This way. And if I have my weapons, I'm drawing my swords.
Is anyone else going back in that direction? Is everyone going in that direction?
I moved across to see if I could see what was going on.
Oh, yeah, you moved across. Yeah. So you see that they've got Ronnie now from that angle. They've got him grabbed, and two of them now are holding Ronnie and pulling him towards this room. And as that happens, the elf that was watching you comes walking past the commotion in your direction. And he looks at you, Kermwin, and he says, I think it's time we had a little chat. Bring your friends to the back. And he turns around and just heads back here like it's business as usual.
Let's go see what they want.
I was charging forward with a weapon, but maybe I'll just keep them at my side and have
see where the conversation leads. Right?
A hasty walk to the back, yeah. But I'm armed, unless they try to disarm me. Like, I've got my weapons out.
All right, so we'll move you guys all to the back. At this point, as you start to move in that direction, all of these other people around step and ensure that you walk into the room where you see you're sitting in a room with a dark cloaked man sitting at a table. You're all standing in a group together. Ronnie has been let go. He's standing there as well next to you. And the figure raises his hand and he says, waves off his people. And all of the others leave the room. And so you guys are all left in the room alone now with the dark figure. And in front of him, a lot of books, scrolls on the table in front of him. He stands up and slowly pulls his hood back just enough that you can see his face. And he says to you, gentlemen, my name is Kadison, and I've been watching you for some time. I have some information for you. And this is where I'm going to cut you over. So this is where Kadison is standing, and you guys are in the room with him. He essentially is like holding a scroll, and he is holding it up and says to you, I know what's happened to you, and I'm sorry that's happened to you. Perhaps we can work together to remove your curses. And so he's a human male, and again, it seems equivalent to what you guys had seen in and around town. It was definitely him that was moving about town, and you are sitting here amongst this man, and whatever rumors you may have had about him, this is the same person, and you definitely recognize him from those of you that spotted him in town and stuff. That's where we'll leave it. We'll park it right here where we'll pick up, and he'll have more information for you guys, and we can have some conversation with him when we pick up in the next game. So that's it. Does anybody have anything here at the end they wanted to add as far as how you might react, or anything else you wanted to add?
What kind of languages are those books in?
We'll find out.
You're perusing the table already. Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, this is really
Appreciate
cool. Thank all of you
Hard
guys.
work.
You're welcome. It was a lot of
Thank
fun.
you.
It was a lot of fun. Take care, and we'll talk to you next time.
The,
Thank you,
Thank you,
guys.
Thank you,
See you
guys.
next
Thanks,
time.
guys.
See you.
Bye.
Cheers.